to all the requests and recommendations made by the stakeholders and would respond adequately. This is coming on the heels of, like we said, a stakeholders meeting held yesterday between the Lagos State government, the Lekki Concession Company Limited, the operators of the toll gate, and of course the stakeholders in Lekki and Ikoyi parts of Lagos State. Of course, we had journalists, also the press at that meeting as well. Now, joining us to look at the unfolding events and what transpired there. And the point basically all sides are making are two lawyers, Ayo Ademiluyi and of course Adeshina Ogunlano. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Ayo is with us in the studio and Adeshina joins us via Zoom. Ayo, good evening to you.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. And Adeshina Ogunlano, good evening to you.
Evening. How are you?
Fine, thank you. So, Ayo, you were at the meeting, the stakeholders meeting yesterday.
Very well. Very well.
All right. Adeshina, were you there as well?
Yes.
Okay.
You said what? What's your question?
Were you at the stakeholders meeting yesterday?
I was not.
Okay, all right. So, Ayo Ademiluyi, let's take an account. Tell us what transpired.
I to be truthful, I got there a bit late. I got the notice quite late. It was for 4 p.m. at the Lekki Coliseum. It was 4 o'clock. I got so getting down there, it was almost done. And of course, a lot of discussions were still going on. One was able to have the opportunity of engaging one-on-one with Mr. Gbenga Motosho. That's the the Commissioner for Information of Lagos State Government. And he was pushing the argument that one of the reasons why the Lagos State Government, you will recall that Lagos State Government have about 75% shareholding now after the debt buyback of the Lekki Concession Company. Now, but since 2014, that's one of the major reasons they are proposing the reopening of the Ikoyi-Lekki Link Bridge, and subsequently the Admiralty Toll Plaza, is that they are owing 24 billion naira. So we now put a further question to it: that are you saying that since 2011 till now, that's when the 24 billion naira debt accumulated? And his answer was yes. So if that answer is yes, the further question is now that if we were to say between now and 2011, that's a total of 11 years, 11 divided by 24, so you have around 1.2 billion naira being spent every year over the same Lekki Expressway that people like me and you apply almost on a regular basis. Then the further question is that what major significant improvements have been made, let's say for instance in year 2021 on that route, in terms of covert, in terms of drainages, in terms of any fundamental improvements? The answer is no. In fact, we are facing the road. Is it same road that 1.2 billion was spent last year? Let's even assume without considering that 1.2 billion has not been spent in this year. So there are so many unanswered questions. What is clear is that this is a clear case of expropriation by the Lagos State government and the Lekki Concession Company. We are already hemorrhaged in this country. To draw blood, our inflation has risen to almost 58%, arguably, and apart from that is that we have a devaluation of naira that has reduced Nigeria to the highest, the poorest country in the world according to the World Poverty Clock. Furthermore, according to the World Bank, because they have been punching out a lot of statistics, that the World Bank is the financial guarantor or in charge of the Ikoyi-Lekki Link Bridge. Okay. The same World Bank has come out with a report that about 1% of Nigeria's population control about 80% of the vast resources. So Nigeria is a disaster zone, if you ask me. And putting 3 toll gates on a 16-kilometer road is more or less drawing blood from a patient that has hemorrhage. So that's the basic thing that transpired yesterday.
Interesting.
Taking forward.
Interesting.
There is clear opposition, even from the residents, from everybody, civil society, from the victims of Lekki massacre. They were there yesterday. There was a clear no from the
Lekki Ikoyi Link Bridge toll gate.
Exactly.
Not the Lekki toll gate on the Lekki Expressway.
You know that their strategy now is that tomorrow is April 1st. The strategy is that there won't be tolling turning at the toll plaza at Ikoyi Link Bridge. Everybody knows that what happened at the 20th of October happened at the Admiralty Toll Plaza, the popular Lekki toll gate.
Yeah.
So they decided to shift the focus and locus to the Ikoyi Lekki Link Bridge, and then say for the next 14 days, I think from now to April 14, there won't be any turning. Then by April 15, they will start the turning. So we should not be fooled on April Fool's Day. Tomorrow is World Fool's Day.
Okay.
We should not be fooled in any way.
Interesting. Let's bring in Mr. Adesina Ogulano at this point. You've heard from your colleague and friend Ayode Miluyi regarding what transpired at that stakeholders meeting between the Lagos State government, the Lekki Concession Company Limited, and stakeholders in the whole entire episode. What are your thoughts on that? The fact that they're trying to, bring people together, say we need to resume tolling on the Lekki Ikoyi Link Bridge toll gate. Mr. Ogulano, are you there, please? Can you kindly unmute your device? Yes, please. All right. Well, while we're trying to get him to, and please, Mr. Ogulano, if you...
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Can you
hear me?
Loud
Yes,
and clear. So please go ahead.
Okay. Can I go on?
Yes, yes, you can. Yes.
Okay, well, one thing is this. If government seeks understanding of the people, that particular seeking cannot be faulted. I mean, ordinarily, you should always be consulting with your people and wanting to get the feedback from them. But it will only work where you are sincere. I mean, when you are sincere, you cannot hold a monopoly of wisdom. You cannot say, oh, I am the fountain of knowledge, and I'm only consulting just to hear your noise. So Lagos State government that has come and start meeting with people, I think it's too late in the day. You want to open a controversial link bridge, one of the 3 points of exploitation. This is how the majority of the people see it. And you just started 2 or 3 weeks to the time, in fact, a day too. You now say, I'm giving a period of grace. You have taken decision. So you now want to panel beat the people onto that particular decision. It is very, very wrong. If it were in December or early in January, oh, we want to do this in April, what do you think of it? One will now say, oh, this is salutary. We are yet to open, but this is what we are deciding to do. What do you think and all that? They want to, rather, they just want to do what they are trying to do is cosmetic. They want to just patch over things and to give the impression of being democratic. But it is a ruse, and people have seen through it. At any rate, whether the consultation is coming late or coming early, the people have spoken. The majority of the people will not accept the tolling of our gate. What's so special about that particular toll gate? Why? In all of Lagos State, why is that place to be tolled? Or you are now saying, oh, it's a fantastic paradise, and it's only you are privileged to go there. That cannot be right. At any rate, the economic reasons advanced by government does not say. All the claims of budget by them budgeting for that road is exaggerated. It's highly exaggerated. It's Nigeria. They have parted the thing. Nobody understands the books, and you want to talk billions. Sound like Mr. Ademili has debunked there. So somebody is telling me that on average you spend 1.2 billion, 1.9 billion every year on that short road. Is this the road to heaven? It is not. It will not sail, it will not go through, and it can't go through. And I want to add that they even have the temerity or the audacity to consider reopening of that toll gate when they have done nothing about the implementation of the white paper and the report of the panel shows how disdainful are people who govern us as a people, how they regard the people and their sensitivity, their sensibilities. They just want to ride offshore. Why are those so desperate? Since they've not opened it for the past 1 year or so, Lagos State, has it collapsed? The answer is no. And people will do well to resist it. And our own new Nigerian network will be at the vanguard of championing resistance to an oppressive act or move of government.
Okay, all right. Gentlemen, I mean, I've listened to you, and I understand that you've talking about, you know, the fact that this is an oppressive act of government, you know, that the economic reasons advanced by the Lagos State government for reopening the Lekki-Ikoyi Link Bridge toll gate or toll plaza do not hold water in this case. But are we not allowing emotions rather than common sense prevail in all of this? You know, I'd like you to tell me, Barrister Ogunlano, why the Lekki-Ikoyi Link Bridge toll plaza should not be reopened, or why tolling should not resume there. I want you to just give me, in concrete terms, why you are against this.
Okay, one, the question is this. You don't need to be a lawyer to understand constitutionalism. Under the Constitution, people are not going to be, should not be discriminated against by policies of government, but for whatever reason, whatever it applies must apply equally to everybody. So if I'm living on the mainland, if I'm living in Badagry, if I'm living in Ikorodu, my roads are not tolled, they are not taxed specially. Why must Lekki toll gate be taxed specially? Why must it be taxed specially? So why should it put me at a disadvantage? Like Ademili mentioned, people use that place regularly, some people 2 or 3 times a day. So, but I live on the mainland, I go to Ikorodu. Ikorodu has good roads. The road to Ikorodu is good, it is not tolled. Here, this Ikorodu road, say, where my office is, Palm Grove, is not tolled. The airport, when I'm going to the airport, which is a federal road, it's only a portion of it that is tolled.
Mr. Gunlano, these roads that you're talking about, because I thought you were going to say that in respect to the souls who were lost, and of course, I think you've already mentioned, you talked about the white paper, either you or your counterpart who is seated here in the studio talked about the white paper, the panel report, you know, set up a report by the panel set up to investigate police brutality, and of course the Lekki massacre as well, which they brought into their own terms of reference. So if you're talking about the fact that some roads in Lagos are not tolled, why should you have to pay a toll on the Lekki-Ikoyi Link Bridge? Have you sat down or written to the government of Lagos State to find out what model, what money was used to build these roads, what the difference is in the yes.
No.
Because you don't need me to tell you, sir, that Lekki Concession Company is not a government department.
I disagree. I was at the panel.
You know how concessioning works. You know how public-private partnership works. And if you, barrister, were to put your money in an investment, say, government, I want to build a road and I'll recoup my money over the next few years, and then one day you're told you cannot get your money back, how will you feel?
Let me answer you. You are telling back to me the lie peddled by government. I was at that panel. They admitted before the panel that is now owned by Lagos State. The issue of a concessioning company that was 10, 15, 11 years ago is now the property of Lagos State.
This is the Lekki-Ikoyi Link Bridge.
The same thing. The company purporting to control the Link Bridge, the Admiralty Plaza, and the one near Chevron. Every of these things, there's only one company. It is Lagos State. Lagos State is not supposed to be trading on its own people. Lagos State is not supposed to be trading on its own people. And I'm supposed to speak for the people. the people of Lekki, of Epe, of Aja, Badia, Badore, they should not suffer than people that are living in other parts of Lagos State. Lagos State cannot come and tell me a story, and I believe it. They have admitted that it's not a Lagos State company, because I put the question to them: who are the directors? Who are the controls? They know it's a Lagos State property. The mere fact that you have not created a parastatal does not take the ownership away from Lagos State.
No, but government could have commercial. Let me come to you, Mr. Ademi Louis. There's a Lagos State government company. I've forgotten the name of that. But the one that no, the one that owns the one of the companies that runs BRT.
Okay, the LSBSL.
Something holding.
In fact,
something holding company.
Very good. You mentioned the LSBSL. Now, fortunately enough, we are also the council handling the matter of Bamishi Ayonwola.
Okay,
now,
so you know the company that
hold on.
All right.
Now, the one of the major arguments that have been canvassed too in one of our major agitation, especially on the question of the criminal liability of LBSL, is that it's just a private company and all that.
But we know
that
there's
a difference
between
LBSL and Lagos Concession Company. In 2011, the Lagos Concession Company was incorporated, and the Commissioner for Information admitted that yesterday too at the stakeholders meeting. Now, in 2014, there was the concession agreement expired. Now, there was a buyback. Now, in corporate law, what we mean buyback? Buyback is that if you have made an investment in a corporate infrastructure and there is a loss of investment, you are buying back both the liquidity and assets of that company.
So
do you understand? So between 2014 and now, which is a total of 7 to 8 years roughly, is that we have had a buyback by Lagos State government. So the entity is now 75%. If you check the statement of Lagos State government, they are clear. 75% holding by Lagos State government. In fact, as Mr. Governor said,
75%
yes,
holding.
Who
owns the remaining 25%?
In fact, they did not tell us.
Okay,
Under
but government owns
preservation,
75%.
Mr. Omomo Wasu, the managing director of Lekki Collection Company, admitted that, and he said 25%. Who wants it? Leave the way. He could not, and all that. But to put the issue to rest is the fact that what we are having on our hands is Lagos State government expropriating its own citizens. Now, where do our taxes go? According to the statistics of Lagos State government generates the highest IGR in Nigeria, more than 11 states of the federation, around 3.1 trillion. Now, apart from that, is that Lagos State government's IGR, and in entirety its GDP, is more than 5 West African countries, neighboring countries. So where is the money? Where is the money going to?
The GDP does not translate to
yes, it does not translate to evidential transformation in the socio-economic lives of all of us. Now, Lagos State government, in terms of education, or what we call the world best cities index, rates far lower than Damascus, the world top city of Syria. In fact, it will be rating now far lower than
but I'm
the capital of Ukraine, which is under bombardment of Putin.
You're going
and
far.
all that.
But
so
I will come back to
so that you get
the LCC. Is the LCC a department, department agency of Lagos State government, or is it a private company with government holding shares?
Let me clarify for you. Government can own holdings.
Of course.
Of
course. You talked about the fact that you are handling Bamishe's case.
I'm just clarifying. In a limited liability company, and we have seen that in numerous cases. In fact, don't forget that Lagos State government has what they call the Ibile Holdings.
Ibile Holdings. Was looking
Ibile Holdings PSC listed on the stock exchange.
Which is the holding, the parent company of LBSL.
And don't forget that even government acquire bonds and derivatives on the secondary market of the stock exchange. So we are scholars of corporate law. Those are fundamentals. Now, coming to what is happening here now is the fact that you have a government, after collecting the highest taxes in the land, in the country, now subjects its citizens again to multiple taxation.
So because is this an issue of the Lekki massacre? Or is it an issue
now connecting it to the Lekki massacre now?
Because they're two different things. If you're talking about the fact that Lagos State government collects taxes and raises the highest IGR in Nigeria.
Very well.
That is one issue. But if you're talking about the symbolic nature, symbolism of reopening that in relation to the Lekki massacre, then that's another issue on its own. So which is it?
Okay, thank you so much.
Or are you
for that
just
question.
trying to get everything to bash the government with?
No, we need to have a clarification. Now, if you look at the incident of the 20th of October 2020, what we regard to as the Lekki massacre are now judicially acknowledged by the Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry that into the statutory abuses. The panel that sat, that panel drew up a judicial report that also acknowledged that event as a massacre. To be truthful, the fact is that that massacre occurred at the Admiralty Toll Plaza. Now, the Admiralty Toll Plaza, the Ikoyi Lekki Link Bridge, and even the Conservation Toll Plaza, which is the third one, that is the one at Chevron, at Eleganza, are managed by Lekki Connection Company. In fact, the fact is that Lekki Connection Company also does many other things apart from tolling. According to them, they believe they do some haulage and all those things. Well, that's the object of their corporation. It's not for us. Now, the point we are making is that by virtue of the panel report, the panel report recommended that particularly the Admiralty Toll Plaza should be set up as a cenotaph. Now, the Ikoyi Link Bridge too, if you look at that Ikoyi Link Bridge, is equally part of that recommendation that Tony should stop in that place. I mean, it should, in memory of those people, cenotaph should be put up there. Now, there's an argument that can be put up. Did the panel
recommend, and of course, that the Lekki Ikoyi Link Bridge Toll Plaza should be shut down?
No, I'm saying that he's recommended as a cenotaph.
I know. I'm just asking. Did they recommend it should be shut down?
Not at all.
Okay,
just to be clear. Now, the fact is, what we are making, the case we are making, is that particular turning itself is anti-human, and then
the tolling.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, connecting to the Lekki massacre, because there's a point there.
Yeah.
The Ikoyi Lekki Link Bridge in itself is if you look at it, is a product of a World Bank and IMF facility.
Yeah.
And it was meant to ease the traffic on the Admiralty Toll Plaza. Now, but the contrary situation you have is that for those who are coming from Ikoyi and all that, and moving down, they're trying to link Ikoyi from Lekki, they are now having the conjunction. What we are basically saying is that it's against the principles of natural justice, equity, and good conscience. For this government, less than 2 years after the Lekki massacre, to reopen the same toll plazas where we all knew this gallant matter.
No, but you just said that this unfortunate tragedy, the Lekki massacre, as it's been already pronounced by the judicial panel of inquiry.
There are people who are responsible, and the panel recommended their prosecution.
You said that it didn't take place at the Lekki.
The Ikoyi Lekki
Link Bridge. Yes. So these are two different locations.
But the fact is that we are not going to be a fool on April Fool's Day. Their target is not just Ikoyi Lekki Link Bridge. They knew that there will be a lot of anger if they say they are opening the popular Lekki Toll Gate. That's the biggest one, the Admiralty Toll Plaza. So decided to shift emphasis, focus.
What's the source of your information?
No, I'm just reading from the body, from the demeanor.
It's my opinion. And he could sit here and deny.
It's my opinion.
That's what
I said that we are going to do a public debate. We are ready for that debate. A public debate about that. Now, the fact is that the strategy of the Lagos State government is to say, okay, we are opening the Ikoyi Lekki Link Bridge first. We are not even going to take tours. On the 15th of April, we are going to start that. But eventually, nobody is a fool. The Admiralty Toll Plaza will also eventually be opened. We all know that Nigeria is a disaster zone. There will be another disaster in the next 2 days or 3 days. All attention will be shifted to that disaster. And then, of course, they know that the easily susceptible Nigerians will want to pay. But we are, as I've said, and fortunately enough, I'm also the secretary of the New Nigerian Network. We want to assure the Lagos State government that we will be at the forefront of mobilizing against.
Okay, I want to bring back Adesina Gulano at this point. Adesina Gulano, we've been reminded by Bengal Motosho, the Commissioner for Information and Strategy in Lagos State, that LCC, I mean, he's talked about corporate, practice and structures that, you guys as lawyers are scholars in this. And I'm sure you're aware that you cannot just take a project that has been, structured on paper, and then the finances and the project, map and everything has been drawn down in terms of how the financing is going to go, that involves the World Bank and involves the IMF and a lot of other paperwork, and just say, you know what, we're throwing it out the window. You have to stick to that agreement. It's part of, if you want to look at good corporate practice, you want to look at your credit ratings, for instance, in these companies like Saatchi and Saatchi, and all these things matter. So will it be right and fair to expect, having gone to an agreement where the Lagos State government took a pen and a paper and signed and said, this is how we're going to go about it, to say, government should just take taxpayers' money to pay? Would that be the right way to go about it?
Well, the question I will ask, which one is better? Reality or your so-called commitment? This bridge was locked down, has been locked down for more than 1 year. Was that part of the agreement? Hello, sir?
I'm listening to you.
Yes. Was it part of the agreement?
Why was it locked down?
No, we asked the Lagos State government. Who forced them? Who forced them to lock it down? Who forced them to say there won't be tolling over there? Are you
aware that the LCC owes local lenders about $11.6 billion and owes foreign lenders about $31 million US, $31.1 million US dollars to be precise?
I don't believe, gentlemen, my friend, I don't believe the story of Lagos State government. Like Adam,
no, but saying you don't believe it doesn't make it not true. Your lack of your unbelief needs to be backed up by facts. So do you have facts to show that they're lying?
What would you like me to explain? If you ask me a question, you can't corral me on a particular way of thinking.
I'm not trying to. No. Far from it. Mr. Governor, go on.
The point is this. The gentleman was asked, who are these other 25%? He could not answer. Lagos State government, Omotosho, ask him tomorrow, he cannot disclose. We are saying there's boju there, and we are saying that if this agreement is so sacrosanct, why was no tolling for the past 1 year? Is law made for man, are contracts made for man, or man made for contract? We are very much aggrieved in Lagos State, and anybody who is realistic will know that even underneath it, even though the NSAS protest that took place in that axis was not about tolling, but everybody knows that even before that NSAS protest, there have been repeated both legal, both physical demonstrations and challenges to this tolling. It's a very sore point to Lagosians. And we are saying that, assuming but not conceding, that even this bridge, something affects it by way of even natural disaster, what will Lagos State be saying? That I must pay. We are saying that there's nothing sacrosanct over the welfare interest of our people. And we are saying it's not fair. And I was trying to explain to you that, okay, why should people in Lekki now, I don't know when they used to toll, you pay, if you go there up and down, you pay almost about 1,000 plus a day, 400, something 300, 200 every day. And which improvement had happened? Is there a forensic analysis of this paper? When we now ask by way of information from Lagos State government, are they ready to submit to the scrutiny of the people? They will not be. And part of democracy is glasnost and perestroika, transparency and accountability, and that's why people are reacting to this sharply. There's no need to incite anybody. The truth of the matter is that Lagos State government has special interest in satisfying themselves and their cohorts in the Western imperialist country than the people of Lagos State. And we cannot accept that. When you accept oppression, you begin to justify it. Omotosho should present his books for independent forensic scrutiny.
All right. Additional Bulana, we have to go, but just a quick one to Ayo Ademi. How should this $31.1 million
exactly. Thank you so much for that question. Thank you so much. It's a
very quickly out of time.
One. Now, the foreign lending, which Lagos government have always said the gods for, especially the Kogi-Lekki Link Bridge. Well, the view that what is needed to be done is to appeal for debt forgiveness and cancellation by the World Bank.
Just like that.
Hold on. For instance, it's not new. Just some few weeks ago, Chile is a Latin American country, equally had a lot of World Bank debt body. The purpose of those Bretton Woods institutions, World Bank and IMF, is to continue to expropriate. There is an investment.
Okay, we have to go.
So you are
saying they should go to the World Bank and say, please.
No, we are demanding that cancellation of that debt. It's an unseen debt.
All right, it's okay. Legal practitioners Ayo Ademolu and Adeni Ogulano have been with us. Adesina Ogulano have been with us this night on the Plus TV, Plus Politics. We'll be back. After this, we'll take a short break, and when we return, we look at the Northern Group sending a warning to governors in the People's Democratic Party. It has something to do with zoning ahead of the 2023 presidential elections. Please stay with us.
The feeling of the House and the feeling of most people who have read the judgment is that it's a judgment that smacks of what people have been complaining about in the Nigerian political system, mainly that politicians are trying to bring the judiciary into disrepute. There is no reason whatsoever for the court, for instance, to enter into, to accept that case the way it was accepted, to give an order against a party that was not a party to the suit, and to order further that the executive should perform the duties of the legislature by going to delete a section of the Electoral Act. What the Honorable Court should have done or should have stopped at would have been simply to say, in his opinion, that the said section of the Constitution was null and void to the extent of its inconsistency to a specific section of the Constitution.
The later judgment by the State High Court is actually very sad and unfortunate, and clearly shows that we still have a lot of work to do with our judiciary, because both the State High Court and the Federal High Court are cause of coordinate jurisdiction. They are in the same level, they are on the same pedestal. So it is sad that on same issues, same parties, these cases were going on simultaneously. I don't know what really happened. A situation where immediately the Federal High Court of Abuja gave judgment, the State High Court, which obviously, given the circumstance and from my experience, seems to be a judgment influenced. I think NJC and the Nigerian Bar Association has a lot of work to do to ensure that corrupt judges do not. In fact, these days at the Federal High Court, when you're filing any suit, you have to depose an affidavit that there is no other suit and you're not going to duplicate suits. So obviously what happened in the Ebonyi State High Court is a misnomer, and NJC should met out the appropriate sanctions on the offending judge.
I will say that EFCC does not have the capacity to deal with this type of crime, because over time we have seen not 1, not 3, not 10, not 15. It has become like a normal thing for EFCC. Once a public officer exhausts or the tenure expires, the next thing EFCC swoops on him and
The Coalition of Northern Groups, CNG, has said the most urgent task before its members at the moment was a search for detribalized politicians who are free from moral encumbrances to run for elective offices in order to unite the people and secure the nation. The organization also said that nobody could stop the North from fielding and backing candidates for the presidency. They said some governors in the People's Democratic Party cannot stop the fielding of Northern candidates or political candidates for the presidential elections in the party because of the resolve of the members of the group to resist such an attempt. Now, joining us right now on Plus Politics is the Director of Strategic Communications, Coalition of Northern Groups, Samaila Musa. Good evening to you, Samaila Musa. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you. Good evening.
All right, the CNG has stated this position. I just want you to run us through why your group is insisting that Northern candidates must be allowed to participate, especially you're particular about the People's Democratic Party.
Okay, yeah, that's a very important at this particular juncture that we are, especially having noted that some particular persons are trying to overheat the polity, either by some brigandage or some uncalled for utterances that shouldn't be heard from perceived leaders. So that is actually a source of concern to us at the CNG because we felt it shouldn't be. You see, let me quickly lay this background. That politics is a game of negotiations. It's a game of persuasions. So when people who ought to stick to the rules of the game, I'm talking about the politicians, actually, leaving politicking and going into issuing threats or making some utterances that are unwanted or unwarranted at this particular time, you begin to feel like maybe we're having some militants, or some terrorists in the guise of politicians. So that actually is a source of concern to us, and that's why at this particular time we're actually coming out to be quite very vocal about our position and our stand. Now, having said that, while the PDP is of particular interest at this time, is because we noted that there's a particular scheme, there's this grant scheme going on within the players, especially those players from the southern part of the country, to shut the door against politicians. And we felt there's a need to actually remind them that out of the 16 years of PDP rule in this country, 14 of those 16 years actually came from the South. So it's very important to remind some of our southern governors or politicians that it was only 2 years that the North actually enjoyed the presidency under this particular party.
Okay.
So that's essentially the reason why.
But Samaila Musa, you have the conversations around zoning ahead of the 2023 presidential elections all over. You're talking about different political parties and different elective positions. Why the particular focus on the People's Democratic Party, and why the particular focus on the presidential election?
You see, there's no how you want to talk about zoning without talking about PDP, because that was actually their brainchild ab initio. That's it's something they actually brought, even though they said, it was in principle, it was not something that is actually in the constitution of Nigeria as it is, but they started it. And so when in 2015 or in 2011, some elements who are coming out today to say, why should you not talk about zoning, were the same people who jettisoned the zoning arrangement in 2011 and say, no, the then president will have to contest because as far as they are concerned, the zoning does not really hold water. And then they said they did the same thing. And I think it's very important to also remind you that in 2015 is this same zoning issue that actually almost sank the PDP at the time, because some persons felt we should have stick to this zoning arrangement, but the same Southerners say no. And that was how you saw some governors actually pull out of the party because they felt no, the North has actually been so changed. And so the same people are the ones who are actually championing the zoning arrangement. Now, you mentioned that across different political parties. Well, you see, the APC hasn't actually come out to tell you whether it's actually zoning or not zoning, so that's why we actually cannot mention. And when you talk about there's no how you're also going to talk about other parties without mentioning the ruling party at this particular time. And the ruling party hasn't actually come out to say this is where it's swinging it to. So we're going to just give them the benefit of doubt to say, well, we believe they're going to play by the rules, to say, well, let's be fair to all. But it's very important to sound this at this particular juncture again, to say that, look, Nigeria is in a total mess as we speak right now. People are coming together to, put hands together. All hands on deck to see how we can salvage what is left of this country. It is a time where we should be talking about the quality of individuals who are coming out, and not particularly about where these individuals are coming out.
Okay, Sumaila Musa, you did talk about the fact that the People's Democratic Party had ruled for 16 years, from 1999 to 2015. And out of those 16 years, the northern part of the country held sway for only 2 out of the 16 years as far as the presidency is concerned. So in other words, you are looking for a fair and just, sort of arrangement to be to at least carry everybody along. I believe that's what you're saying, that if the PDP as a party has people from all sides of the country, they should be carried along, so that it's not just one part, which is the South, that should be handling or occupying power. I believe that's what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly the point. The point actually is, like I was making this point to say that Nigeria is actually in a mess right now. Nigeria is in a doldrum, that we need capable hands. But it's also important to say this, that wherever the man who's got the credentials to pull Nigeria out of this doldrum is coming from might not matter in the long run. But when the umpires or the people who are seen or perceived to be the leaders of the party begin to go around with some brigandage, some campaign of calumny against a particular section, or trying to shut the door against a particular section of the country, especially the North at this particular time, is not something we're going to sit back and watch. We're not going to allow that to happen.
Okay. So in the interest of fairness, anyone who hears that, in a party like the People's Democratic Party, for the 16 years that you had the position or occupied the presidency, that the North has produced a president for only 2 out of those 16 years. That would be really sad for anyone to hear. So I believe you're speaking in the interest of federal character and the interest of equity, and justice for all parts of the country. And then you've agreed that you're doing that. So let's look at this in the context of Nigeria as a whole. The reason why the People's Democratic Party is elected to go with Olusegun Obasanjo when Nigeria returned to democracy in 1999, or with a southern candidate or a southwestern candidate, are not far-fetched. You're aware of this, Sumaila Musa. So it will be a bit of changing the narrative, or twisting the narrative, some might argue, if you say that, the North has only occupied for 2 years, because this is the larger picture is Nigeria. And the only reason why the PDP decided to zone this to the South was because Nigeria was coming out of years of military rule, and the heads of states were all from the North. We can look at, after Shagari, we'll have who? North. You had Muhammadu Buhari, North. You had Ibrahim Babangida, North. You had Sani Abacha, North. And you had Abdul Salami Abubakar, North. These are 5, over 2 decades. You move from there, and of course you now realize.
Right there. Let me correct you.
And then you've also left out Muhammadu Buhari's 8 years.
Let me correct you right there. You see, if you want us to go the route of counting the years of the military, those are barbaric years. Those are years we don't even want anybody to remind us. We're actually, leaving all that behind us. Nobody within the military rank will tell you that they actually came together, sat down, and consulted with anybody before plotting or staging any coup. These are people who came to power using all manner of brute, all manner of force, So really,
But Sumaila Musa, there was a reason why the People's Democratic Party said, you know what, let's allow someone from the southern part of the country produce the president.
Okay, let me tell you the reason why that happened at the time. The reason why it happened at the time was that the man who was perceived to be the winner of the June 12th in 1993, as it were, is MKO Abiola. So, you know, in the interest of what Nigeria to say, okay, look, this man contested. Yeah, it was a military president who oversaw the election, and the election was adjudged to be free and fair. You know, it's only fair if some person, some military also came on grab power, you know, through the back door again and denied him that mandate, you know. And now that the man is gone, what can we do to salvage what is left of this country in terms of unity? Is to say, okay, let's allow somebody from that particular region to occupy that seat. And I believe quite a lot of southwestern Nigerian folks who are perceived to have the credentials at the time were actually contacted, about 3 or 4 of them. I'm aware Wole Soyinka was contacted. I'm aware Richard Akinjude, SAN, you know, blessed memory, was also contacted before even it came to Obasanjo. So we're just, at the time, they were just shopping for someone who's got the credentials, someone who is upright, you know, someone who can actually stabilize the country until the baiting fall on Olusegun Obasanjo at the time. So really, you will see how this whole thing played out. And immediately after that, the PDP decided to say, well, they want to stick to some form of a zoning arrangement. But I'm telling you, the same people from southern Nigeria, you know, felt no, because power was with them at the time. They felt it's high time we jettison all this arrangement. It's not really working. It's not going to take us anywhere. It's about competence. It's about who can rule Nigeria. I mean, who can, you know, drive Nigeria to the promised land and do it better and all of that. They came up with all manner of theories and stuff. So the same people today are the same who are now advocating to say, oh, no, we have to go back, we have to revisit that zoning arrangement. And we're saying, in the spirit of fairness, even if you want to say zoning, you have held power for 14 out of 16 years of this your party. So it's just fair enough for you to say, okay, let's give this opportunity to some of our northern folks. But we're not even saying do that. We're just saying, leave it open. Whoever's got the credentials, allow Nigerians to decide at this particular time. Perhaps if you feel, you know, it's high time we just still zoning, no problem. That's fine.
But you cannot you cannot exclude the fact that Muhammad Buhari is from the northern part of the country and he has been president for the last 8 years. You cannot exclude the fact that both leading parties in Nigeria, the APC and the PDP, both zoned the last presidential election. They had northern candidates. So if you look at 8 years of a northern candidate, if you want to look at fairness, would it be fair to have the PDP elect an Atiku Abubakar, or elect an Waziri Tambuwal, or elect a Bala Mohammed to come be there for 16 years again?
Look, what we are even advocating for at this particular time is to say, we agree with you. You preached this in 2011. You also preached it in 2015 that there's no point going by zoning arrangement. And we're saying, fine, we want to stick to it. Now, if you want to go the route of saying, oh, Buhari is from the north, are you saying the PDP and the APC is one party?
No, I'm saying the Nigerian presidency is one.
It is one, but it has to come under a platform of the party. You understand? So the one party shouldn't decide for the other party. That's the reality on ground. And the APC hasn't come out to say they want to go by the zoning arrangement. So I don't even want us to drag APC into it, because we don't know what they want to do yet. Until that time, we also going to be very vocal. We're going to come out quite very vocal about whatever it is that we feel is actually anti-North. But for now, the PDP is the one who's displayed this by some few elements actually within the party who want to go the militancy way to say, no, Because you see, all the things we're even talking about can actually be judged out, can actually be dialogue, can go the way of persuasion. You understand? When the active players decide to say, well, between us, we agree that we're going to have a consensus candidate in the person of so X, Y, and Z. It's a different thing when some persons begin to go you start using gutter language to paint.
So talking about gutter language, you also your group also in that statement talked about you talk about someone who's being brash and engaging in brigandage, and now you've talked gutter language, and you mentioned your governor from the south in that statement from your group. So which governor is this you're referring to?
It's Wike. Okay. You and I know the way he's been going about these things. We're making governance in Nigeria to look like you have to be a garage boy before you can emerge as anything in Nigeria. We're beginning to make people like Governor Wike to look like you have to be a tout before you can amount to anything in Nigeria. I'm even ashamed to let my own children watch people like that on TV vituperating the way he was doing. Everyone has been going in a very civic manner, the way both APC and PDP, between them, everybody's actually been carrying out their engagements, their consultations in a very civic manner, respectfully. You understand? These are people who are men of honor because these are leaders of the country. And then one of them chose, and Governor Wike is not the only one from the South. And you and I will agree with me today that in Nigeria, there's nobody who presents himself as a tout like he's doing.
Okay, so you're referring to Nyesom Wike, and I'm happy you're open about it and honest about it. The governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, had called on the People's Democratic Party some days ago to treat the South fairly, and he said that the South is always called the pillar of the PDP. He said the pillar. But it's not only when the party needs help, maybe financial help or support or stability, that they should turn to the South, that they should also remember to be fair to the South or the southern part of the country when it comes to sharing of offices. And of course it's documented the role that states like Rivers State have played, led by Nyesom Wike. For the PDP, in a time in Nigeria where the party does not control the leading states in the country that have money, you're talking about Lagos State, Rivers State, and Kano State. It is the states controlled by the PDP in the South that have funded, their counterparts, with giving donations and grants and all that. So what do you say to that, very quickly?
You see, I'm not a member of their party. What we're just saying is make sure you create a level playing ground for everyone to participate. You can bring those assertions. I don't know what went down. Between them as a party, they can decide to say, well, some people, of course, in any country or in any climate, some persons will have to fund the party, especially when you're in opposition. And if Rivers State happens to be one of the richest in the country, it has its own volition for him to want to fund the party. So really, it's at his own discretion to do that. But that is not enough for him to begin to make the climb to look like you have to be a tout before you can try.
Those are strong words from you. Those are strong words for you, Sumaila Musa. He might argue that it was a Northern group that bought his presidential nomination for him. But anyway, we will talk about that some other day. Sumaila Musa is the Strategic Communications Director of the Coalition of Northern Groups, who are calling on the PDP to open their presidential aspirations or role, or rather position and contest to people from all parts of the country, including the North. Sumaila, thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Sumaila.
Thank you.
All right. And that's the size of the show. I'm Kofi Bertels. Thanks for watching Plus Politics. We return tomorrow.
A broken road does not understand Igbo. It will not maim the Fulani and let the rest of us go. The accident it will cause will take our lives. For when a vehicle somersaults, it breaks all bones.
So, you can speak Nupe till morning comes. It will not build libraries in our public schools. And when a young woman, lies dying in childbirth, your fluency in Ijo it will not save her life.
For Christian or Muslim, it makes no difference. When you're being driven around in an ambulance from hospital to hospital in search of oxygen, northerner or southerner, you'll just die suffocating.
You will die from causes easily preventable, like no fuel for the police to respond to your distress call. No light, no water, no nurses, no jobs. Nothing kills as efficiently as bad governance.
As politicians in office who do not pay salaries, whose response to bad roads is bigger SUVs, who set up committees and publish white papers, presiding over affairs that never improve.
Politicians in jeeps with minds in London, perpetual latecomers to every meeting, irritated by anyone with a different opinion, who see the people as a throne to sit on.
Politicians in power, who personalize the state, who criminalize criticism and terrorize dissent. In society, nothing kills as efficiently as a politician in high office with low mentality.
For you see, Boko Haram will burn down an entire classroom, but a politician can swallow the entire school system, can fold up the power station and keep it in his briefcase, can roll up the railways and keep it in her house.
They can file our seaports away in a drawer, can cripple all our farms with no fertilizers. No matter the passion that you bring into a startup, the government can cripple it with just one pronouncement.
And no degree you hold, no grammar you speak, no decision you make to just face your work, no protest you stage can save you from those elected to make and enforce our laws.
The way they see things is a wall around you, for you cannot drive faster than the person driving you. No matter your wealth, education, or achievement, you're subject to the mentality of those in government.
Politicians in office hold the yam and the knife. For to elect is to give the elected power over life. Which child remains Almajiri or becomes better? These things are in the hands of the people in power.
Politicians in office hold the farm and the seed. For to elect is to give the elected the power to decide whether security operatives can murder citizens and walk away free. These things are in the hands of those who run the country.
So, if you are tired of it all, then strike it at its roots. If you are tired of needing a letter from a senator to get that job, if you are tired of seeing your hustle frustrated by public policies, if you are tired of insecurity, then fix the politics.
Until they are there in public office, men and women with a heart for public service. No tribe, no tongue, just a commitment to build a functional nation that fills us all with pride.
Until they are in the highest office, men and women with the heart of selfless service. No region, no religion, just commitment to nation.
Until we elect them, we labor in vain.
Because they have elected someone, they can just call him anytime. It's not done.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on PlusTvAfrica as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on PlusTvAfrica, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on PlusTvAfrica.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayua Mesale, and today I'm joined by the ladies in the building. Who are we starting with? It's your Fodile.
I didn't want you to start with
I'm starting
just
definitely
not
with you. What happened to you today?
It has been a crazy day for me. I have been stuck in traffic all day, and in fact, it was a miracle I was able to get here on time. Full stop.
Where did you go to?
I had an appointment on the mainland, and when I was done, I thought, okay, I could get here in record time, but I got stuck in traffic. There were different pocket traffics at different points. My bag.
For you to switch to mother tongue is a very serious
is a long.
My bag. So it wasn't my fault. It has been, like I said, it has been a crazy day for me. And
we're happy that you are here.
Absolutely.
Don't be entitled. Don't feel entitled. No, how are you?
Oh, I am good. I am well. And I am still sane.
Hallelujah.
Given the situations around us in the
ourselves.
country. Yes. But we thank God all the same. We're here.
Hallelujah.
We're not feeling entitled.
The birthday. Why is all of a sudden you're just humble? How are you? How was yesterday?
Yesterday was fun, actually. Turned out to be a lot. I didn't want any fanfare. I didn't want any fuss. I said I didn't order a cake. And then everybody in the ether, and everybody then decided, well, you're going to get cake. So I got cake number 8 today. Oh, wow. So awesome. It was a major cake birthday, but it was a good day. Good day. I think birthdays are just an opportunity to be thankful. I didn't get as much time to reflect because then I ended up a house full of people, but always time to be thankful, given everything that's happening in the country.
Absolutely.
You know.
All right.
Another thing you can say is you have enough time to reflect after the
Jamboree. We're discussing entitlement today, and here's what we found as today's quote.
Yeah.
Money flows in the direction of value. It's as simple as that. This is from Uche Ugo. Now, referencing a LinkedIn article by Adetokunbo Adejuwon, there is an almost stoical and primeval phenomenon with our people. We do not take ownership either individually or collectively. Maybe it's an African trait or just Nigerian or both. Yet we have this mentality that we are entitled to everything, including things we do not strive or work for. So how can we be entitled to something we do not own? And conversely, how can we own something we are not entitled to? So it's our ladies' night out. Uti, Isi, Norman, and I are discussing what is the entitlement mentality costing us as a people. What is it costing us as a people? Again, we saw a video of what's the popular Annie Dibia's brother that's been going around. In fact, the whole world is talking about it. I was driving on radio, they were talking about it. And I think that piggyback to why we're having this conversation. We're asking, was it costing Nigerians, right? And when we open our phone lines, we really love to hear your thoughts on the cost of entitlement mentality in Nigeria. But first, let's take a break to see what we found in the news. You're still watching Ways Now. Today is the International Day of Drug Checking. It takes place on the 31st of March every year, and it's been taking place since 2017 to ensure people are educated on drugs and are aware of their effects. Now, the day aims to promote harm reduction initiatives of drugs and reduce drug-related risk. Also, along with it, it also marks promoting harm reduction action of drugs and reduces drug-related risk. Their goal on the 31st of March is to raise public awareness of the availability of drug checking services and companies from across the planet. So, happy International Drug Checking Day. Very, very critical day right now.
Absolutely.
And just goes in line with what's in the news.
In fact, I was wondering, I was like, what's going on?
They saw it coming.
Yeah.
So what did you find for us?
Okay, so my headline says, NDLEA busts Lagos Airport drug syndicate. So this is all about tramadol. Of course, we know that this is a huge problem here in Nigeria. We've had several other exposés and news stories about it. But the story says that the law enforcement agency has arrested a drug kingpin, or rather a syndicate of 6 members. So in the course of arresting one person, they've tracked down another 5 who are believed to have tried to smuggle nearly 1.6 million tablets of tramadol. And it was seized. The most interesting thing of the story for me was the fact that they were using official vehicles. The Skyway Aviation Handling Company, that's SACO, the vehicle they were using. So the drugs came in from Pakistan, and they were luckily or thankfully apprehended. I mean, it just goes to show, and we've talked about drugs so many times on the show, but it's clearly still a profitable business, as it is anywhere in the world. So let me not say that Nigeria is unique, but I think I just still struggle. Maybe I'm in a bubble. I still struggle with the fact that Nigeria, like drugs, entering Nigeria. Like when we talk about it, it feels like it's not happening here, but it is.
When you go up north,
it is.
You see the
codeine, the tramadol, what's the other one?
All that. You think people in
it's not
in
just
the
even
south?
in the north.
I know, but it's
in
worse
the east.
In the north. Oh yeah,
no,
no,
in the east. No, it's terrible.
Yeah.
We've lost a lot of young people.
I mean, the truth about it is, I mean, look at what's happening in the world, in Nigeria. It's rich to take drugs at this point. I'm not advocating for drugs, but I mean, sometimes people like
the
you
pressure
just.
Is real.
It's a lot.
The pressure is real.
It's a lot.
All right, Isi, your story quickly.
Okay, my story is it says that the train attack and the federal government asked Nigerians to raise money for patients' treatment, and this was said it was allegedly said that it was the Minister of Minister of Transportation, Mr. Rotimi Amechi, was the one that stated that Nigerians should contribute to the cost of treating those who were affected on Monday's train attack. However, he has come forward to actually refute that claim that he never said that this evening.
Yeah, because I listened on the radio when they brought to I think the spokesperson.
Yes, that he has.
What's her name now?
I can't recall her name, but he has refuted that claim and that he didn't say anything to that respect. So
what he said was something around the hospitals should work
hand in hand with the citizens. Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so Norma, your story.
Okay, my story is about insecurity, which is
the order of the day.
One of the hot topics of the day. Nigeria should be allowed to carry weapons, says Shehu Sani. Shehu Sani, as we know, is a former federal lawmaker. And today he was talking about Nigeria's worsening security situation and said that Nigerians should be allowed to officially carry weapons in defending themselves. Due to the different insecurity situations, we know about the trains that were attacked, the airports that was attacked as well. So he wrote that if government and security agencies can't crush these terrorists and bandits kidnapping and killing our people in northern and southern Kaduna, people should be officially allowed to carry same weapons, and let's see who owns the land. I find this a little bit troubling, because if the likes of America, which are huge countries really, and who have been into this gun business for years, decades and centuries, are going through the kind of seeming trauma that they're going through with gun violence and all sorts of things, homicide going on, people committing suicide, mass shootings and all of that. And this suggestion is coming at such a time where we even have a majority of Nigerians who are under trauma. So imagine somebody who is traumatized handling a gun just because they want to secure themselves or they want to feel safe. That paranoia can also make them not to make concrete decisions, and who knows who would be affected by these decisions. So I find that a little bit thoughtless.
We have
that's my opinion.
So I just have a question.
Yeah.
Please, is Shehu Sani a lawmaker or not?
He was a former
lawmaker.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear.
However, I think I understand where he's coming from, but I don't think that is the solution.
That is not what will solve the problem.
That is the solution to the
Exactly.
problem. That's not the solution to our problem.
I just look all of that today.
I'm in the looking business too.
Yesterday, RMB had come out to say,
about the train,
what happened in the stadium.
Yeah.
Right?
Give them gun.
Stampede.
Because they lost a match.
They went all out.
Already.
Is he being smart?
I don't even thoughtless.
Has he thought through what he just...
No, I don't think.
That's why I said.
I want to believe maybe he was even under trauma when he made that statement.
Even some people who are, some military officials who are supposed
authorized to carry guns,
or licensed to carry guns, they are trigger happy.
Yes.
Not to talk of individuals who are civilians who do not have the license or who do not have the training.
You just took the words out of my mouth.
And they they go out there and training.
Your police people are randomly shooting.
The
ones that are supposedly trained
to carry weapons. Then you now give it to regular citizens. Uncle Shehu Sani, I know you are trying to...
That's not the
solution. It's a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, he's trying to get the young
buy-in.
Yes, but this one you goofed because you don't understand.
I want to believe he was traumatized at the time.
No, I think he was...
So activists, Rino Omokri has knocked Buhari for donating. Hear this, $1 million as gifts to Afghanistan. So according to a socio-political activist noted that such an amount was given to Afghanistan could have been spent on the security in Nigeria and could have prevented some of the incidents like the Abuja train. He tweeted that, "Dear Buhari, just this month you gave $1 million to the terrorist government of Afghanistan. The money could have bought 10 bomb detectors for the Abuja-Kaduna rail. You spent $8 million on repentant Boko Haram, Wouldn't that have been the best spent on bomb detectors? He said that Buhari had 10 presidential jets, more than 10 Mercedes worth over 1 billion naira, but could not provide even one bomb detector for the Abuja-Kaduna rail 6 months after it was first bombed on the 22nd of October. So, that is that. I will leave it there. You must not consign me. But the truth is, the insensitivity of our leaders, right? Sometimes it just, you know, I was saying it yesterday that it just gets you to that point where you almost feel like you're hopeless. You know, like this is just a helpless situation. We have their needs, we have crisis at our hands, and I mean, this is not the time. You understand? America will first of all sort out what is happening within them before they say they want to go and give money or whatever, or aid.
Is it his personal money?
You know?
Or is it
his personal money?
Or is it aid?
It's not his personal money.
All right, on that note, we take a break. When we come back from the break, we want to understand what this entitlement mentality that we have as a people is costing us. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So earlier today, a video surfaced on Punch newspaper Instagram's page where actress Annie Dibia's brother cried out on the actress threatening his life. He proceeded to make claims ranging from drug use, being denied a manager job, to not being appreciated or put in position to stand on his own and take care of his family. All right, so just watch this video in case you haven't seen the video.
My name is Wisdom Macaulay. I'm elder brother of Annie Macaulay Dibia. I'm crying out for help now. At this moment, my life is being threatened. I have been working with my sister for some time, but she will never pay me my dues. She would rather send me 20,000, 30,000, turn me to her slave, and at the end of the day, she can decide when she's angry to end it. Some weeks back, her husband sent me some money, gave me some money. I've been begging him for years. The money wasn't so much, but I used it to settle my home. I have a wife. Imo State, I am sorry. They have not come to do the right food. They have not come to pay your daughter's dowry. It's not because I don't want to. It's because I've been manipulated for many, many, many years. Annie introduced me to drugs, hard drugs. Annie takes drugs. She's a drug addict. She takes it every day. She is so violent. And it is the same thing, the same way she doesn't have peace with anybody. She quarrels everybody. She fights everybody. I defended her because I love her as a sister. But I now realize that she doesn't even have love or any good intentions for me. I wasn't around for 2 weeks. I came back because I had my own issues I was trying to sort. I came back, begged my sister that we should continue with the things that, the work and everything. She decided to take everything away from me. She took away the job. She wouldn't give me a car. I've been begging my sister for a car.
So the video is about 4 minutes long, so you can search for it online and watch it. So Teresa Omoronya said in an article titled Entitlement Mentality, and I quote, "In recent times, I have been reading stories which seem to confirm how much people who consider themselves poor will happily attack others who appear better than them. The rising number of kidnapping cases in the country is an example. When caught, these criminals, who are often university graduates, blame the government and the society for their crime. They don't blame it on their greed and laziness. Instead, they choose to direct their unjustified anger or actions at a helpless society." Now, I blame this on entitlement mentality that many people have about life. So it is not only seen in a young graduate who believe he deserves to get a job just because he has a certificate. It is also seen in the relatives who think just because they are family members, they deserve to be supported by the more successful relative. Now, it is clear that most Nigerians either consciously or unconsciously have entitlement issues, right? And we are asking tonight, what is this costing us as Nigerians? The more we keep seeing people who feel entitled, you know, how is this impacting us as a people? Now, please let us share what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation, send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet to us at PlusTvAfrica1 with the hashtag #WaysShow. Right, so I saw that video this morning. I was just saying, why is this guy feeling entitled, right? It's just interesting how life plays out. But I think I should leave my opinion to myself, because the way this person is eyeing me by the corner, let me hear your thoughts. But I just feel like I want to say to Nigerians, don't be too harsh on the guy, because a lot of people really gave him the backlash of his life. If I was listening over the radio today as I was coming, they were saying that what nonsense. It's very useless. That doesn't is even a man, an older brother. This, that. But you see, when the foundation is faulty, what can you do? See, from Benin, where we are from, my sister, it is common thing. It is commonplace for you to say, I wait for my brother may come carry me.
From Jan.
That is the only thing. You see a full-grown man sitting down and saying that he's waiting for somebody to come and take him abroad so that his life will be better. It is something that people have been groomed to believe that, you know, they are just, yes, it's a conditioning. So I really don't, I feel empathy for the guy, honestly. But let me just, as I said, let me keep myself to myself. Where are we starting with?
Let me give you an idea of what someone who has an entitlement mentality looks like or feels like when you're interacting with a person. And from every indication, our young man does exhibit some of them. So they said, according to a research, it says they think the rules don't apply to them, they are self-absorbed, and they are argumentative, okay? And they go out of their way to serve themselves. Another one that actually got to me is they feel they deserve better. And it's normal with Nigerians today, basically. They feel as though they deserve special treatment. This young man has exhibited these traits. Yes. And then they are self-centered, just to state a few of these traits. So for me, I think, yes, do we have individuals that feel entitled? Yes, they do. But I have had the opportunity to interact with children who are in primary school, secondary school, and above. And this thing is not about, like you stated, it's about foundation. And we've seen individuals who have children, treat their children in such a way that, oh, the world is your oyster. Nobody should do this to my child. Nobody should do that to my child, because I believe my child deserves this. So whenever the child says, okay, the child didn't get what they're supposed to get, oh, they want to go to the moon and get it, especially based on the fact that, you know, especially if the parent is from a not a well-to-do home, and they want a situation whereby the child gets what they
overcompensate.
Yes, what they were denied. So you can't blame a parent for feeling that way, but in the process, what happens? The child feels that I am supposed to have this. I've had a situation where I have dealt with a child, and the children were given gifts in school. And the child came and said, oh, that's just a massive, that's just cheap. I can buy 5 of that in a second. Because he knows he can afford it. And I had to bring that child to order and tell the child, look, it's not about the gift. It is about the fact that they earned it. They earned it. Earning it is different from you just meeting it out.
That value.
Yes. So for every individual that is out there, yes, we do have individuals who are self-centered, self-absorbed, and yes, that young man, he has an exaggerated sense of self-worth. If he felt that the sister wasn't meeting his needs, he should have just left and done something about it. Okay, it's a simple thing.
Let me come to, I don't know who I'm coming to again next. Because I was going to throw this question out. I've always believed that if you're somebody of value, right, you won't just be discarded just like that.
Yeah.
So when you see issues like this where there's a discord or there's a dispute, it means that you're not of value to those people. So what I do is, with raising my boys, I teach them, you must make yourself indispensable. And the only way you can make yourself indispensable, it is that you are adding value to it. If somebody can just discard you and not even look back, it's even more reason for you to go back to your drawing board to sit down to say
reflection.
What have I not? You understand?
What have
I
I
not
done
doing
wrong?
right? You know. But let me hear your thoughts, Uti. Okay, then I'll come to you.
So there was a video, it's trending yesterday or day before yesterday, about a guy who was happily munching biscuits in the plane, and the woman tapped
yes,
him
I saw that video.
and said, my child would like to look out the window. Parents have a lot to answer for. I mean, Issy has touched on it. So when we talk about the foundation, it starts from there. I had a situation in my house 2 weeks ago. NASA's kids came over. And I had said to my son before they came, I said to my nanny actually before they got back from school, I said, how many packs of Ribena in the house? She says 2. I said, okay. So when they come, give it to the girls. They're the guests. My nanny froze. She said, what happened to? I said, he doesn't need to have any. I said, if they weren't coming, does he normally have Ribena? She said, no. I said, so it's not really about him. She couldn't process it. When they came, she still came back to check on me. So I called her and I said, do you know that this thing you're saying, where how will he feel when he sees them having it and he doesn't have it? I said, life is not fair. There's never going to be equity all the time.
Yep.
So don't teach what is not real. We often, I tell people, I say, look, I was raised in the 80s. I could complain about a lot of things, but it wasn't that bad. I think I turned out quite well, actually. The reality of it is, life is not fair. When we raise children, we start off, so it's multifaceted because you have the young children who are from the middle class and the wealthy families, being raised with an entitlement mentality because they think they can have everything, their parents want to give them everything. Then you have the people on the poorer side who, one, don't have parents that are grounding them. Because I remember being told, nobody owes you anything.
Nobody.
I brought you into this world. Even the education you get, nobody owe you anything.
It's a privilege.
And that's the mindset that we all have to have. But let's not forget that we are also in a culture, in an environment where the culture breeds entitlement. People see you, they don't know whether you have had breakfast.
They just assume.
They don't know what side of the bed you woke up on.
You're okay.
But you're okay. So how about you give me some money for breakfast? And I'm thinking, do you know my situation? Forget family now. This is just everybody else.
Yeah.
So there's a general sense of, because we live in this part of the world where it's tough. Let's be honest. It is tough and it's only getting tougher.
Yeah.
So people are trying to survive. There's nothing better than hunger to wipe common sense away. So people don't care. Just you look better than me. In fact, we can look the same, but just smile. You're better off. You know? So that's the reality. And then you look at our leaders. Our leaders make you feel the most entitled. I mean, after all, we don't got no money, but you got a million to give Afghanistan. Hey, how about I deserve $1 million too? I mean, what makes Afghanistan better than me? So in truth, the thing itself is just propagating. It's like a snowball. And it has gotten bigger and bigger over the years. Because begging didn't used to be this blatant. I was driving into one of probably the most popular hotels in Lagos. The lady who was at the gate, who was supposed to be checking my boots,
and making sure
she stood there and said, "Oh, fine, auntie, I don't need to check your boots. Just so such."
She's not sure if you have a bomb there to just blast the entire place.
And
so that's the reality we find ourselves in. Now, when we come to the question, for me, of what is it costing us, it's costing us a lot. And that video says it all.
Yes.
You are not a tree. You are only bonded to her by blood and by DNA.
Absolutely.
If she wasn't an Idibia, if she was anybody else,
would you come out of social media?
Are you there? If you don't like the situation, you move. I always say, if you are going to go and marry a wife, people will come for me. If you're going to go and marry, you better be able to afford it. So you now come on social media and say you have a wife, you've not paid
Yes,
dowry.
Igbo people.
Who? Whose business is it?
No, he's trying to. He's
Oh,
trying
Yes,
to garner sympathy so that people will see from his perspective.
Let me hear Noma's thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on this entitlement mindset?
It's like Uti rightly said, it's a snowball. I think it has even become an avalanche.
Correct.
Like it is so huge and it's going to destroy Nigerians if we continue with this trajectory. It's going to destroy Nigerians because it's not allowing space for innovation. And we are a resourceful people. We are people with so much talent. But because the one person, for example, let me take you, using a public restaurant, not restaurant, restroom.
Oh yeah.
And then the person who is supposed to ensure that there's tissue and that the toilets are cleaned is there telling you, oh, auntie, anything. How about you do your job? And do it diligently.
That one is annoying, Norma.
The one who is open.
You're supposed to give, there's supposed to be tissue there. Then she now does it.
Then she holds it and then she removes
like
it and gives you as if she's doing you a favor. I don't understand. Where is the dignity of labor?
So
you no longer have people who are proudly doing what they ought to do. You now have people who have this mentality that says, you owe me and I don't owe you.
I'm doing it for you.
And there's only so far that you can go with that mentality, because guess what? It's going to rob you of opportunities. If somebody wanted to just out of the way you did your job, you were just committed and just decided, oh, to gift you, they would automatically change their minds. I was reminded very quickly about my, I was having a conversation with someone and she was talking with a cleaner. And this cleaner was so diligently doing his job. He doesn't, he just comes in, he does his job, and he goes away. And then one day, she meets this cleaner, says, oh, they were having a conversation, and he says, oh, guess what, auntie? I have just gotten admission into the university. And it was like, oh, you are even thinking that far. You know what?
I will pay your
I'm going to support you in your school fees. Just you let me, once you're going, let me know, send me your account details.
Yeah.
So the bigger opportunities that come up, you are robbed because of 10 naira or 100 naira that can only satisfy an immediate need now.
Yeah.
When you have more permanent solutions that could have been solved or that could have been created. So it's robbing us of a lot as Nigerians.
Let's take a break. I'd like to open our phone lines early today. We'll come back, we'll open the phone lines. Stay with us.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@PlusTvAfrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
All right, so if you just tuned in, it's our ladies' night out, and we're discussing what the entitlement mindset is costing us as Nigerians. Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-8663. You can also tweet to us at Ways Show Africa 1 with the hashtag Ways Show. All right, so our phone line is now open to call us. The number is 07025007749. Remember the rules. Turn off the volume of your television set so we can hear ourselves clearly. All right, so before we went on a break, I like the direction that everybody's going with the conversation, but I'd like to take it back just a bit. Let me pedal it back. Our new English that we learned this week. Yes, the way the world is right now, especially the way Nigeria is right now, everybody seems to feel entitled. And that's why things are almost like going south. I can tell you for free that the people that went to loot, remember when the NSAS thing happened and the heat of it, that estates were so scared, they started donating money to give to the miscreants around because they felt that if we do not feed these people feel
they'll come for us.
Yes. This is what's it called, clearly the problem of our society today.
Yeah.
We have raised a generation, an entire breed of what's it called, people that feel like because I am not successful, you are responsible for my downfall or whatever. So
if
you
not,
should
we
be
all
if not we all go down together. How do we move from here? Right? Because what is costing us, we can't even quantify it.
So
except if something like that happens again, we'll now see the gravity of where this can happen.
You don't even want to see it.
Honestly.
So the fact is, I had a conversation one day at a petrol station. It was during the fuel scarcity.
Yeah.
And
you know what, hold that call. Let me just quickly take our first caller for today. Franklin, I believe, from Lagos. Thank you for calling.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling. Let's hear what you have to say.
Okay, yeah. What I want to say concerning is Nigerians having this notion of entitlement has much to do with the fact that the economy itself has torpedoed so much so that the so-called take-home pay can no longer take people home. Talking from the housemaid, talking about the gate man, even the teller at the counter, everybody always look forward to you giving them something. So what I want to say is that these organizations concerned can just come up with some rules, that they will ensure that such modus operandi on the part of those people no longer hold sway. There should be some kind of punitive measures because sometimes it can be very embarrassing, honestly. Sometimes when you don't feel like just because, you just want to go out of your way, you end up, giving out some and all that. I was at the airport the other day, the guy trying to give me tissue, and even the tissue, he was like holding it back, expecting me to give him something and all that. I was like, what is all this? So it has become like an epidemic.
It's a plague.
So to speak. It's everywhere, in all facets of our life. So I think the organization concerned, the employers, should do everything within their ambit to curb such. Once they know that there are punitive measures, once we mediate and such, then many of them, I'm sure, they will renege their decisions on doing that.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay.
What to you?
I mean, it's endemic. And just to say to what Frank is, there are rules. Most businesses have policies against it. But again, culturally, it's entrenched. How many people, I guess, are you going to sack? You keep sacking people, the next set are going to come. The very key point that he made there is the money is not enough, so they're going to find a way. But anyway, the people at the petrol station, all these area boys and all, immediately, of course, they blocked the entrance to the petrol station. So now you're having to settle them to even try to get into the petrol station. And when it started to get a bit rowdy, had to quickly, in those times, you have to think on your feet to quickly, what can I give you boys? Let's buy beer. And they're telling you, we all just are here. We think that we're secure. We think that we're safe. When you think about all the so-called highbrow neighborhoods, just not over the fence, just right next door, the indigents are still here. And they're watching you drive past them every day in your big cars and all of that. And because there's a lack of education, there's a lack of exposure, the person is not interested in whether you worked hard to get it. Everybody's a thief.
As far as they're concerned.
So, particularly the middle class, sitting on a powder keg because you're closest to it.
Yes.
And these people don't care, that you've struggled how many years to work
they don't care.
And buy
they
your
just
car.
Feel entitled to your
they
money.
just look at it and go, why is this person better than me? And that entitlement, it's multiple factors because look at what happened at the stadium. There was no reason to vandalize the stadium.
There was no reason.
But I felt that I was aggrieved somehow by the fact that we did not go to qualify for the World Cup. So all of these things, when you boil it down to fundamental issues, education.
Let me take Loma from Abia State, then I'll come back.
Absolutely.
Totally. 100%.
Are you there? You're live.
Yeah, I'm live.
Thank you for calling.
Good evening, my beautiful sister.
Thank you. Thank you for calling, Loman.
See, let me just tell you what is happening now. This time around, due to the way the ruling class have treated the low-level class, nobody will do anything this time around. You must give something. Even if your car maybe got stuck somewhere in the world, before you put it on position, because they fail to give us a sense of direction. They fail to give employment, to have opportunity to be at the heads of their pay. You fail to create employment. No, allow the youth to move around to become something else. We then we have people that deal with when you see young youth getting into drugs, doing all kinds of things, there's no way to walk in. But you will arrest somebody today, tomorrow you will release that person, and that person will get into that family. So people who always, like now, we are getting into election time. Before you now start, I will vote for you. They will tell you, give me money. Because you fail to check a new court there by making sure you do not keep those basic amenities for them, do things that will make them not. So that is what I think is self-development. No self-development of these people. Making them know you can do this and be at the top in your life.
Thank you, Loma.
Every area of this country to become people becoming students. So it is a ruling class. What are the problems of what are happening today?
Absolutely. So I hear you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So from what I hear him say about the system we've created, right? People are not doing their jobs. They're supposed to do their jobs. Because ideally, if you create an environment where people feel like I can just earn a decent living, they will not feel entitled. And I somewhat agree with him because, again, because I was going to ask, what is the root cause of this entitlement mentality? Why is it on the rise? Yes, you've mentioned one, education. So the system breeds entitlement. You have not created a proper system, an enabling environment. So the person just feels like, okay, every 4 years, just come hand me out. Hand me my own share. Let me collect my own. If you hear the language of the electorate during political rallies and they'll say, they will be speaking, please help me with the Yoruba language. They'll go, I want to go and collect my own, because you don't know when next you are seeing them. Exactly. So this is the system that we have created. But I don't think we have really quantified, what you say we should not go there. But if we understood the cost for what this entitlement mentality is costing us as a people, as a country, as Nigerians, do you think we'll continue to tolerate and encourage it?
Yeah, but what are you going to give to stop it? And because everything that we glorify breeds this mentality. You have the same data you use on Facebook to learn Yahoo. It's the same data you can use to learn data analysis and get a job.
Yes. But you would rather go that route.
You would go that way because
go and be begging us.
It's easier route.
When people beg me on Instagram,
I have a friend whose brother was a teacher who quit being a teacher to go and do Yahoo Boy. So, fundamentally, there's a problem with how we're wired because our values are wrong. So, your values alone will breed entitlement. And then people are angry.
See, let me get to the root cause of where this is coming from in education. All right? I will come back again. In fact, I think education is everything. It's not about the system anymore. It's all the education of Nigerians have been warped from God knows when, and it has cascaded to what we have today. I was wondering why is it like this? But in the course of me interacting with children, in the course of me interacting with them from preteen to higher level, I got to understand that when you're trying to tell them, okay, you need to read and pass and learn certain things. This is not just, it's not just about you reading and passing. It's about you knowing and having a functional skill in the society. And they go like, oh, we just need to read and pass for now. They don't even have a sense of direction of where they're going to or where they're coming from. And when these kids get out of school, secondary school, let's take them from secondary school, for example, how have they been trained? How have they been educated? What did they imbibe when they were in these schools? And you now get to understand one crucial thing is that in the course of you trying to tell them, read, study, and pass so that you get through this level, and that will take you to the next level, they fail. Now, when they fail, it now keeps culminating. Then you now see individuals who are supposed to be out of school, who are supposed to be in university, still looking for WAEC or JAM, whatever papers.
It's a ripple effect.
So it's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Now, this is what now leads to individuals feeling that
well,
we do not have a way out.
Let me hear.
I just wanted to.
So it's our education system through and
I wanted
through.
to piggyback back off what Isi was saying about education. And I remembered when we were growing up, and there were people who had issues with JAMB and all of that. You would write JAMB until you got admission into school.
Yes.
But they didn't make you entitled. But I would take it from the place of parenting that we have in today's world.
Totally.
In Nigeria, we do not have intentional parents, people who are even being the example for their children, let alone teaching them the right thing to do. That had cascaded over time because it had been watered down over time due to, I think it was Uti that mentioned that, not wanting to, the values have eroded, people not wanting their wards or their children to suffer what they have been through, and then they are now watering down the values, and now we have a breed of younglings who think that everything has to come to them. And we need to go back. We keep mentioning parenting and we brush it off. But that is very fundamental with the generation that we're breeding today. Of course, government also has a role. I don't want to sound like a broken record. But if our government does not pay attention to what is needed to guide its citizens in the direction of progress and success, it's only a matter of time.
So I was going to ask this question.
The results are going to come out.
When they talk about fishing, right? When they say teaching
how to fish instead of giving me
the
fish.
The fish. We have seen time and time and again that even in this case, because I want to go back now to why we even discussed this in the first place. The Annie herself and the Two-Face, they are very, very guilty of the mindset that they have
created.
No, not really created. They might not have been the one that created it, but they encouraged it over the years in the life of that young man. So you cannot now blame him.
How?
Because you see,
they try to assist him.
You see,
I'm not trying to assist.
I do not believe in that philosophy of always giving people money. If you come to me for money, I will ask you, what can you do? Do you understand? Because even that is how my own children, I'm raising them. I do not believe to give you money. What can you do? How can you earn the money? You get my point?
Yeah.
So I want to believe that if over the years, even if it was the managerial work that was offered, and you said, okay, you know what, for you to be able to do this thing with excellence, there are some courses that you need to take, some trainings that you need to take.
Education.
Now let's finish. Let me finish. There are some. Hold on. Let me finish. There are some trainings and there are some courses you need to take to go and upgrade yourself. Because if you do not do X, Y, Z, I will not give you a dime.
Does the
From the
person
word go,
does the person
he would have brushed up. He would have sat up his butt.
The question being also that does the person want?
It's not about what you want. It's not it's not about what you want. It is about from the day one. Set the standard. No. It's either you go and do this to upgrade yourself, or I do not give you a dime. If they were not giving him a dime from day one, this will not have landed to what he's doing now.
Let me tell you what will happen. Since you want to live in utopia, let me bring you back to Nigeria. He said he was working for her.
Yeah.
She will pay whenever she wants to pay. We don't have enough information from this video.
Absolutely.
Yes. But let me tell you how it happens. Because I have them in my family. Let's not
Well.
pretend like we're too posh to have them.
Yes.
We have them in our family. Let me tell you.
Good thing.
I know how much money I have given people to start businesses.
And they fail.
Because I know that I don't want to keep feeding you. What can I give you today to empower you to start a business? Give it 2 months.
It's down the
They're
drain.
back. Now, when you talk about learning is not about going to course. First, do you want to learn? There are so many people who think that because I am connected to you by blood, you owe me. Does he even look like somebody that is capable enough for her to hire him? For starters, because they came from the same stock, by the way. They came from the same stock. Whether you say she ended up marrying Lucky or whatever, she's built herself.
Life.
Now you're angry. You think that she owes you something because you came into the world through the same parents. She doesn't owe you a thing. These are the particular ones that no matter what you give them, they think you haven't done enough.
Satisfied.
They will never be satisfied because they think you have more. And whatever you have worked hard for, they are entitled to it.
He said that 20,000
to him.
that he was
did
so
you pluck it from the sky?
I will still maintain my stance that you see this kind of thing, when you already know the kind of people you have that you're dealing with, set the foundation straight from the word.
Until there's no certain
it's not about, it's not, listen, you set
it doesn't
straight
work
from the word
in
go.
so many
You see that kind of
areas.
person that you go and give money to for business. You don't give somebody money for business if the person is not empowered to run a business, you understand, that would eventually not fail. There are principles to success, right? How much do the people know about the success of running a business? That's my point.
Unfortunately,
so if I empower you with the knowledge gap, because what we are, all this grammar that
once you are empowering them with knowledge
gap here,
are they not going to eat?
Unfortunately, some people, do not want to be
learn.
helped.
So why are you talking about you not want to? Before you are empowering them to learn, aren't you going to feed them? Are they going to eat?
Funny enough, I had a situation that happened when we were growing up. We had 2 uncles who were sent to school on the same day. One went to school. The other took
the
his
highway
school fees to Suya Sports.
Correct guy.
Come on.
And both of them, of
That's
course.
why you shouldn't have given him school fees. You should have got to pay the school fees yourself.
No, but even when you pay this, do you know how many of them you pay school fees for never make it to school? Look,
they don't
let's
just go.
first of all agree that you have to take responsibility.
For yourself.
This person is
But
seeing
let me
this video
say,
has refused to take
I'm
responsibility.
just trying to say that the guy's foundation is already
Exactly. But you refuse, when you don't
But
take
at some point,
responsibility,
you must be able to
you
take
came from the same stock. Let's not even talk people that were raised differently. You came from the same family. When you see your sister, if you had the right, you will be, look, I will be motivated around you.
You should have been successful.
Exactly.
But let's take comments. You know?
Okay, I have this one from Bobby Kennedy Jalingo in Taraba State. He says, "Good evening, ladies. That guy should just shut up and go do something for his life. And he does not have to do everything for him. I know the family. We stay together at Jakande Estate, Lekki. Okay, the guy has been on drugs way back. Even Two-Face had to try to fix him up during his Plantation Boys time before he went solo. It's a shame that he's coming online to disgrace his family. What entitlement does is that he wants what entitlement does he want from his junior sister? God bless you, ladies. Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah,
thank you. So this says, good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying Ways. I really don't understand Wisdom Macaulay, the elder brother of Annie Macaulay Idibia. If he has any beef or misunderstanding with his sister, why can't they settle it within the family? He did not do well at all to come out and whitewash his sister in public. It is very wrong. If he is married, he should go look for a job or a good business and fend for the family. At his age, he should be independent and nothing more. He should be shameless for now. Sister Uti, Sister Norma, you are welcome back. Sister Uti, Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Daniel.
May God bless you with beautiful gift, with a beautiful gift that you so much deserve, and give you long life and sound health. My name is Daniel Iloways, a regular fan.
So mine is from Ade. It says, good evening, ladies. Right from the 80s to date, the system of governance has been a paddy business. Education and handiwork engagement will solve the problems. If youth has been engaged with skillful activities, will make them happier to grow and fend for themselves, and adds, we are all looking good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I was going to say that, honestly speaking, for me, it's still the knowledge gap that is the biggest problem. That's why we have this high level of entitlement mindset. So if we want to really solve the problem, even us, it might be painful, but do not hand over somebody money for business that the person is not empowered to run. Do not hand over somebody, money to go and do something that the person does not have the skill to do. So that's my point. I'm not saying that. So whilst we're at that, you were asking how would they feed. It is okay to give them feeding allowances or food or something.
Didn't he complain about the 20,000?
Now you're moving to goalpost.
I'm not talking about goalpost. So you can decide to say, you know what, I'm not even going to give you the money physically. You need provisions in your house, I will buy you provisions. You need your house rent, I'll buy, but you must finish that course and get something tangible. See, until we are tough,
need to take responsibility
for
their lives.
Yes. Where we are now, if we do not show tough love, we will not move away from
tough
where we
love
are.
Also means you allowing them to take responsibility.
See, I don't like the fact that you're using education and training as. How many graduates are working at that, slinging their degrees with no job?
Okay, before we go, thank you, Nama.
I mean,
do ensure you follow us on Instagram, Show. We have run out of time. Interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements on social media. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. They're shouting in my ear. This time. All right, so if you missed today's quote, it is very short and simple. Value, money flows in the direction of value. It's as simple as that. So if you really want to be empowered, you want to be financially empowered or financially free, you have to give value to get money in return. We'll see you guys live tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Now, TW Conversations they watch now, and we day inside this lounge with the usual suspects. Minus one or two people. Get Mrs. I, Ebu Feludu, Sauda Salami, and Chisom, and Omoye. We they talk about something really very important. People will say not be real issue, but me, all of us, well, some of us believe say na real issue. Lying, or you go say fibbing. What be fibbing? Na lie. So imagine this scenario. Meghan Markle don't marry Prince Harry. They will date together. She will call the whole umbrella for her. Feminists go, they say, yes, go park. But question, should they lie? Should they act? After all, an actress, will they lie? Or we just they play one role, or na the real genuine truth wey we dey do. We go discuss all these issues and many more on TW Conversations. No go anywhere, we'll soon come back. My name na Omoye Zamere, I be actress, as you can see, and producer. So, go come. Hmm? Go.
Unfortunately, I can't keep up with that pigeon. That pigeon was epic. Thumbs up, girl.
Thank you.
Welcome back. So we're going to be talking about this lying or fibbing issue. Me, I can say for a fact that I have lied or fibbed many times. I'm coming, 5 minutes time. I'm 5 minutes away from you. We have all done that.
I'm at the toll gate.
Chevron. You'll see me now. Now. So do we want to, is it bad or are there good sides to it? What's really acceptable and what's not?
Well, I think that lying holds us accountable. Oh, no. Lying is bad, and so let me go to pigeon. So you say,
okay.
So you say I dey for toll gate, but you dey for Chevron. You never really reach, or you just dey lie. Tell yourself, say I go talk true, no matter what happen. Meaning, if you dey for Chevron, you go say, no vex, so I dey Chevron. If you don't want to offend person again, you go dey Chevron when you say you dey Chevron. What that means is we'll hold ourselves up to higher standards. We'll be accountable to one another. And at the end of the day, we're better people for it. We're more disciplined. People can trust you. I think it's the biggest thing. Lying for me is just such a big deal because it means that I'm not sure if I can trust a person if they're not honest, even when you look bad for being honest.
It's not that deep now. It's not that deep. Again, why do we lie sometimes? Or maybe let's call it fib or whatever. Sometimes you don't want to hurt the person's feelings. Sometimes the person's voila is too much. I'm on my way. I will soon be there. Where are you exactly? I'm on my way.
That's me.
And you know, whenever you tell the person that, okay, or you say something and the person goes on and on, because you don't want the person to go on and on, you just say fib or something, you know.
White lie.
A white lie.
Oh, white lie.
What
if you just say the truth genuinely, like tell the person that I know you're pissed, I know you expect that I'm supposed to be here at XYZ time.
That's what we have to do.
That's how the conversation will go. To genuinely have that sort of conversation with people.
Well,
the truth of the matter, though, is that I think that sometimes it's kind to prevaricate.
Wonderful. So let's put our hands together.
For example, if your friend is wearing a dress that is truly ugly and doesn't fit her, and she says, "What do you think?" Do you tell her it's an ugly dress? You will tell her, "I've seen you in better things." She knows. You're saying the same thing. If somebody's mouth is smelling, do you say to them, "Your mouth is smelling," or do you give them cola to eat? Aren't you saying the same thing? I think that we lie to be kind, but I think there are other ways to be kind. But it takes teaching ourselves to use those other methods. Because the thing with lying is, it's convenient. It's just a quick fix. And that's what makes it dangerous. Because it then becomes a habitual quick fix. And then you become known as a person who is economical with the truth.
But I actually think there's a difference between being diplomatic, you know, being kind and telling lies. I think that there's some people who are known for their fibs and their tales. And you remember them from primary school and secondary school. My father's house, my mother this, my father went to, Saudi, he ate with them. Do you understand? And they're just people, and I think it comes from a lack of insecurity and a lack of self-confidence. And even with other things like not being able to tell somebody the truth about where you are, is just being afraid of being confrontation or not being liked, you know? So I'm not afraid of the truth or telling the truth. I've actually had to learn how to cushion the truth so that, you're diplomatic and it's kinder to receive.
See, you can call it what you like. What do you think civility is?
Yes.
What do you think civility is? It's telling a series of fibs in order to be polite. It's good manners. There's some things you don't say.
Exactly.
And that's the truth. So it has its uses, is what it is.
So there's some things you don't ask. Ask me no questions and I'll tell you no lies. And don't ask me that kind of difficult question and not expect me to, So I think also civility is not putting people on the spot because we ask or we put people in difficult positions, and that's why they sometimes...
Okay, so I want to ask, how about, you know how they say that men, a man that has not lied to his wife or his girlfriend...
Does not love her.
Does not love her. Is that truth?
We don't know.
We don't know. Be honest.
There are times that you don't tell the truth when it's kinder. Honestly, let's just be honest. Because what is truth? It's a perspective. Truth is a perspective. In many instances, you know, you say it's a lovely dress. To me, that is true. To somebody else, it may not be. So if you now say I'm lying to you when I tell you it's a lovely dress, am I? I'm not. It's my truth.
Okay, so can we give examples of... Somebody else's truth that I'm telling. So it may not be a lovely dress in my opinion. So, it's a lovely dress. After all, the designer who made it. But that's
what about what time did you walk in? There cannot be retrospective.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
That's true. You know?
Okay, so are there times that, are there lies or fibs? Let me use the word fibs, so it doesn't seem so more acceptable.
Lies. That's why you go man.
So there are categories of
white
lies.
lies, black lies.
Okay, so are there times that we've told fibs that were understandable to us?
It's always understandable to you every time you tell it.
Sometimes that you know that, okay, this was unnecessary. But there are times that, I mean, my mother, for instance, has said, oh, don't you think this? Don't you think I should do this? And I know that if she does that... So you see, sometimes people already have preconceived ideas of what they want to do. So what I want to say to you is probably not going to be accepted anyway. So then I'm trying to manage the ego. I'm trying to manage my relationship. And then I feel like whatever I say, how detrimental is it going to be to this thing anyway? So I weigh the options. I say, Mommy, don't worry, do it. And in my mind, I'm praying, I pray she doesn't do it. You know, there are times like that that are understandable. Have you been in such situations?
I think there's some, but I think that we have to differentiate between the really heavy lies that create problems. Because once you begin to tell exactly what was, you begin to tell it's one lie building on the other. And then you can't find the truth anymore. Those are really dangerous. But these are the ones that are like kindnesses. I think that civility allows us to fib. And you know, fib is a small lie. When you use the word fib, it suggests a sort of lightness of the lie, so to speak, as opposed to whoppers.
Religiously speaking,
kindness. Kindness will replace the need to lie. So, for example, if you're Christian, and did Jesus ever tell a lie? No, but he was always kind. So when you speak the truth with kindness, you don't need to lie. So if you're, for example, at the toll gate and you tell somebody you're at Chevron, if you're going towards VGC, and you say, just like Chisom said, I'm so sorry, I'm running late. Forgive me.
That's it.
It takes the heat out.
Yes.
It is so annoying when you have an idea of distances and somebody tells you, I'm 30 minutes away. And you say, like, so where are you? It's a question. They never want to. Once they don't agree to tell you where they are.
You know that it's
not. But then again, when you're looking at Lagos, 30 minutes away can take you like 2 hours to get there. That's it.
Uses.
But then again, what do you tell our kids? Sometimes you lie to them. Look at all the things that
tell them mommy's not.
You know, like Tooth Fairy, like Christmas, you know. And then like our tradition when they tell you that they don't want you to sleep at night. So they tell you that witches, if you sleep at night, you're going to attract witches or something like that. They don't want to, or something happens. You know, so many lies. Well,
but are they lies or are they, what do you call them? Are they traditions, fables?
Yeah, fables.
Some of them are not, you're not lying, they're fables.
Are fables true?
Fables start from somewhere and then they get stories told around them. It's part of our lives. Fables are a part of life. There's a message ultimately in every fable.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so but if you told your child a fable, so my son wants to open an umbrella in the house, and I say, if you open an umbrella in the house, it's 7 years bad luck. What I'm trying to put in the child.
You said there's a saying in our village that if you open the umbrella indoors, you'll have 7 years of bad luck. Now, let me tell you a story. Sit down. The tortoise one day did, and you told a story of, you believe it to be true.
But children have sense. They know you're telling them, don't do it. They can't process it that way. But down the line, they're going to say, oh, that's why you told me that story. So that they're not stupid. It's not as stupid as you think. And that's why there are certain kinds of lies shouldn't be told. Don't tell your child to say you're not in when you're in. Yes.
Okay, now, let's look at this. Lying in when you're talking about in business setting, in marketing, sales, and all that. You know, exaggerated truths. To what extent is that?
It's a lie. Exaggerated truth. What is that? An exaggerated truth.
Yeah, because I'm talking of a business setting now. Because sometimes when sales, when people are marketing, when they're advertising, when they're doing stuff, I mean, you're a media consultant, you know, it's on, you know, you look at what it is, you use this toothpaste, and this is what happens to you tomorrow. And you buy the paste, you've used it for a year, and you still have brown teeth. Someone asked me, for instance, I have stretch marks. If I use this coconut oil, will it erase it? I said no. That's not going to happen. Coconut oil saves that. It will erase it. Yeah.
It helps before you get it. What you can tell them is that if you start using it before you get the stretch marks, it feeds the skin.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's possible.
No, I will tell them, look, people are always, I always say this, people will hang on to your every word because people love hope. Yes. Right? And they want you to give them the answer, no matter even if it's a lie or not. They suspend their brains and they just want you, just tell me a lie. It's like they're hungry for a lie. You know, but then where does it end? But no, it will not erase your stretch marks. If you're pregnant, start from the time that you're pregnant, start to rub it in, and that's the truth. You know, just say the truth. And if you're known for that...
Will you really put that?
No, you wouldn't write out. This is in personal one-on-one conversation. But if you're known for the truth, then people will come to you for that.
So I'll tell you this, that in America, the rate of lawsuits has gone so high that people have started being more clear about it. Sensodyne, for example, would say, a certain toothpaste brand, for example, would say, has proven to help eradicate. It doesn't say it will do that for you or for everybody. You know, has been proven in certain studies. So it's up to you. It's tweaking.
We would have to take a break at this point. This conversation is going really. But before we go, we want to say, are there times that we've had an experience where these feebs have gone wrong? Don't go away. We'll be discussing this after the break. Sometimes we hate to take breaks here because the conversation never, ever stops. We're almost literally holding, hold that thought. Hold that thought. But before we came back, you were talking about confrontation.
Yes, a lot of people, many people, don't like confrontation. That is why they lie, so that they can get out of a situation. You know, you don't want to argue, you don't want to even appear weak, you know, or someone has told you to do something, or incompetent. So you will just make that up, you know, at that point, to buy time.
I mean, I remember when I was asked to repeat in secondary school, I didn't want to believe that I was actually going to go through that phase. So after going home to beg my mom, please just change my school. And it was clear that there was no two ways to it. I had to repeat that same class. I remember I kept telling people, oh, I'm in GSS 3 because I had to repeat GSS 2. Oh, I'm in GSS 3. And I remember one person, even up until SS 3, then I was in SS 2, he thought I was probably in SS 3. So he was like, oh, so how is WAEC going? And all of that. And it just got to that point where I knew I couldn't keep up anymore. So I'm just like, you know what? Actually repeated. And I mean, you know, and I felt so much better. I felt like I didn't have to hide anytime he was around because his family, he's like an elder sibling, and he's one of those people that, oh, how is it going? What's going on? So he's always in my face, you know, and so I didn't have to lie and run away from him again. I did. I actually did.
About lying, especially some big lies. I mean, you need to have another lie to cover up the lie. I mean, like about 2 months ago, I had this transaction, and we're supposed to deliver outside Lagos and to Port Harcourt, and we had not left Lagos by 5. And the client is calling, and the client is like, when are your people coming to Lagos? Oh, we left about 3. And we should get there maybe about 1, 2. And he was like, okay, I'll get my team ready. We were not there. And they kept on calling. I had to leave my phone on all over, and I had to say one lie after the other. Oh, they were stopped on the road. Oh, they had 2 tires went off. Oh, they had this. And you know, by the next morning, I was so exhausted. I told a colleague of mine, I said, I'm not going to talk to this guy again because I am tired. I'm drained because of this lie. I mean, I was actually really drained overnight. I had to come up with so many lies. Then I had to even call someone to say, this is the lie I told you. Make sure that your own lie and my own lie,
that demonstrates the negativity of lying as an activity, something we get into.
I was drained. I was like, no, I'm not going to do this again. You guys, you need to leave on time. If we're delivering outside Lagos, make sure you leave on time. So I don't have to really keep up with all my lies.
And if you don't, then say that you've been delayed. It's always better.
Oh my God.
You know, but I think also that people like to impress.
Yeah.
And it depends on the people you're with. If you feel you're not up to scratch, for example, if everybody you're with has a master's, you now decide that you have a master's and you're doing a PhD, you know? The challenge with that is that if they now ask you, what school did you do? What was your project? Exactly.
I know that.
And you know, it's you may not, even when you went, you don't remember your teacher's name after a while, so that may not matter. You can just invent some name.
That's true. You just reminded me of something that happened to me. So when I moved away with my husband, people were asking me, you know how Nigerians call you and you're in the States. So Anne, where are you working now? What have you started doing? And at that point, I literally had just arrived. I was trying to get my social, trying to get my life together, and then it started to get to me, to be honest, because I'm like, so at this point, sometimes I would make sure that I go get a volunteer job first, so that I have something to say. So when people call me, I'm like, oh, right now I'm even going to the film, blah, 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 or I'm going, and I almost felt like I always needed to have something to say, so that it doesn't seem like, because someone actually told me, at one point she said, so Anne, you left your job and left your life and followed man to travel and relocate. You never thought about yourself. And this kind of started making me to have like jealous feelings towards my husband, like he'll go to work and come back, and I'll be like, excuse me, so I have turned to, you know, and then he'll be like, no, that's why you're going to do this course and you're going to do that course and everything, but it's something I had to deal with, so I can totally understand when sometimes you're now pressured to do things that they're not really your calling or not necessarily the things you wanted to do, but because you needed to keep up with appearances, you ended up doing
As well, I also think that we forget to use the word I don't know. People always try to make us either say yes or no to something, even when we don't necessarily want to do it or know about it. Sometimes when you say a particular word and I don't know it, I really don't know it, I'll ask you, please, can you tell me the meaning? Because somebody else might be there and might be like, oh, do you know the meaning? Oh, yes. And you just, you know, and you don't want to feel ignorant. So I think we should also learn to start saying we don't know when we truly do not know. And then we can research or, you know, find out about whatever it is that we don't.
Confidence, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
You also wear the HR cap. Yes. Now, where do you put that when we're talking about our CVs? And when, you know...
You see, it's words. It's semantics. It's amazing. For example, people, if you what example do I use now? If you've done a particular thing, the way people do it is, if you've baked a cake, for example, you'll say you're a culinary specialist. Do you see what I'm saying? You've baked a cake. So that sort of thing. That's where people beef up their CVs. Because people are impressed by those things. And what you want is to impress people. It's just that with people like myself, CVs don't get me to recruit a person. It may get you in through the door, but it's more how you phrase things, one, not the... I don't know, but you get a feeling from the way a person writes, for me, whether or not you want to talk to them. Okay, they may say they have a first class or a 2-1, and because of that, they're shortlisted. You know, when you then see them, it's not what they tell me they've done. It's who I feel them to be and how I feel they can fit in. The kind of lie I find myself telling, to be honest, is if I feel you're taking me for granted, I'm going to stop making time for you. And so I'll tell you I'm doing something else. That's the kind of... But you see, you have to push me to that point. If you take me for granted, it's not something that I enjoy. And so if you're always doing it, when you want my time, I'll say, I have something else that I'm doing. I won't be available.
But has this made us sort of take honesty and truthfulness less seriously?
It has always been taken less seriously, I think. I think each person behaves as they want. Honestly, I find myself to be a largely truthful person. So I truly find it irritating because I'm not going to beat you if you tell me what it is. That's how I feel. I'm not going to beat you. But I have found that I count my teeth with my tongue, which is something my mother used to say. So I will count before I say things. So whilst I may not say, people don't want to hear the truth. Whatever it is that you perceive it to be, they don't really want it. It's like what you were saying. They don't want to know. So you're careful, and there are times when you just keep quiet. That's the option. You just, if somebody says to you, oh, this, you know they don't want to hear the truth of it. So you say to them, okay, so what do you think about it? So you turn the question to them.
Back to them.
It's easier, and I'd rather that people do that, because if you're a thinking person, that tells you that they don't want to answer that question or that what they're going to say isn't what you want to hear. But then if you're a psycho, you'll be thinking, so what was it they wanted to say? What nasty thing did they want to say? And they might not have wanted to say anything nasty.
We have fake it before you make it, because that is also part of life. There's so many things we tell ourselves every day. It's all about lies, and we, try to cover it and use nice words. Fake it before you make it. It's lying.
But it may be about creating perceptions as opposed to outright lies.
What do you mean outright lies? Fake it before you make it.
Okay, we have people who may be fashion consultants, and so you get a dress from them, for example, to wear on a show. It's not yours, but you look nice in it. That's faking it, but you haven't told any lie. Nobody asked you where you got it from. So you present a brand, you create a personal brand of yourself, how you want to be seen. It is now up to you to live up to it.
Or not. This is why I say we've stretched fibbing and telling lies
and that's why
a little bit.
We need to start to wrap up. Our time is almost up. Okay,
so perception is really what we do every day.
Yeah.
So the idea of Meghan Markle holding an umbrella over Prince Harry, so perhaps she is trying to create a perception that may not necessarily be the reality of their life, but that is what will serve the public. And they throw that out there. I think we all do that. Yes. In one way, shape, or form. It's true. It could also be that it's true.
It's true. And I think it's sometimes you, rather than lie, when you're asked a question, you say what you liked. Like usually when we attend movie premieres, you come out, the press is asking, so what did you like the movie? What did you think about the film? I say, the acting was really good. Oh, I really love that scene where this person did this and that. And I don't say that I thought the film was crap. I say what I liked about the film.
Absolutely, and that is truth in that context.
Because I can't lie. I don't want to lie about it.
It has to be selective.
But it's also wisdom, actually.
It is wisdom.
You can't just tell somebody that, that doesn't...
I always say to my sons, tell me the good news first. Say the positives first. That I always say that. And
Okay, so what would we say about this female thing? Should we continue? Should we start?
You want the truth?
Can they take the truth?
Can you take the truth?
You want the truth? You can't handle the truth.
For me, I think I don't like confrontation. Lying, I also don't like lying as well. So you just have to draw the line. For me, I just find myself, Sauda, just try to be selective about how you present, whatever situation is. Say the nice parts of it. Tell them what they need to hear. I've always believed that no is not a curse, and I'm not afraid of confrontations. But I've also learned over time that, to apply emotional intelligence to be diplomatic and cushion the truth a little bit so it's easier to digest.
I think civility and diplomacy are words that exist for a reason. And it's about recognizing that we have sensitivities. I don't think outright lies are necessary, but I think that there's a way to couch something so the person knows what you're saying without you saying it obviously. And that's a skill that I think we should all learn.
Very true. So I say do all things with love, but at the same time, I'd take brutal honesty over a lie any day. Brutal honesty that hurts me over lying, because then I know that I can trust you.
I would say people should stop putting other people in positions to lie or to, feel, yes, to lie to them. However, I think people should actually try as much as they can to genuinely communicate with other people. And people should also learn how to say, I don't know. I'm particular about that word right now. I don't know, yes. So, yeah.
For me, I say that if you're asking somebody a question and you realize that the person is uncomfortable, don't push it. Know what your limits are, know what boundaries are. I mean, as much as you want to know, don't also put the person in a situation where they're forced to lie,
Well, I guess that puts a cap on it. I've enjoyed this conversation thoroughly. Thank you all so much, ladies. This conversation doesn't have to end here. Let's continue on social media. All the handles are on your screen. Let's talk about your impressions on lying and diplomacy and civility and fibbing and trust and whatnot. Okay, so let's do it and go and live better lives.
for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa.
On Plus TV News now. Gunmen kill one, burn council secretariat in Anambra State. Also in Abuja, gunmen storm palace, kidnap monarch, 3 others. Burkina Faso says ousted president could return to residence. President Zelensky reiterates call for no-fly zone over Ukraine. Hello and welcome. I'm Tolu Ojeomi and this is the news now. President Muhammadu Buhari has lauded the Bank of Industry for creating over 9 million jobs in the last 7 years, as well as disbursing over 1.24 trillion naira to 4.2 million beneficiaries in micro, small, medium and large enterprises. Speaking at the commissioning of the second tower of the BOI building in Abuja, the president said that the bank had continued to successfully execute its mandate as a policy institution of the federal government, extending single-digit interest rate loans to manufacturers. Commending the management of the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment and the BOI for their contributions to the economic development of the country and the well-being of Nigerians, the President approved the issuance of a sovereign guarantee to help the bank raise funds in the Eurobond market. Meanwhile, gunmen have set the headquarters of Nnewi South local government in Anambra State on fire and also gunned a security man on the premises down. Several buildings, including the Education Office, Traditional Rulers Meeting Chamber, Works Department, were among the facilities affected. Anambra State Governor Charles Soludo, who visited the scene of the attack alongside the State Commissioner of Police, Echen, and the State Director of the Department of State Services condemned the attack, describing it as thoughtless and mindless. He questioned what could have warranted the destruction of public property and assured that the perpetrators would face the full wrath of the law when apprehended. Now, 4 persons, including the traditional ruler of Bukpe community, Alhaji Hassan Shamidozi, have been kidnapped. The traditional ruler of the community in Kwali, Abuja, and others were also abducted on Wednesday evening. The Kwali Council Secretariat confirmed the abduction. The police and the operatives of the DSS are still on the trail of the kidnappers. We move to Kaduna State, and the state government has described the social media report of bandits' barricades on the Kaduna-Abuja road as fake. The State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwa, who made the denial in a statement, said preliminary operational feedback showed that the fleeing bandits were escaping a military onslaught in an attempt to pass through a narrow corridor around the Kasarami General area of Kaduna-Abuja Road. He assured that the government was working with relevant military and security agencies to address the security challenges in the state. Now, work has commenced to fix the damaged Abuja-Kaduna rail tracks after the attacks. PlusTV spoke with the MD Nigeria Railway Corporation, Engineer Firit Okiria, and he hinted that the repairs would take 2 weeks to fix. The couches would take more time because the extent of the damage was much, he hinted.
Okay, we have started work, and we are hoping in 2 weeks' time the train will be back on track. The accident happened in a cutting by that's about 10 meters below the ground level, and it will limit response to claim the derailed rolling stock. It's not possible to use crane. We have rake cranes, but rake cranes cannot be maneuvered. The crane is a 150-ton crane that can lift the coaches and turn them back to where the track is good. But unfortunately, the portion where this incident takes place, the crane cannot maneuver. We are using our prevailing jacks, which will take more time than the crane. As I said earlier, we hope by in 2 weeks' time, the coaches would have been reclaimed and put back on traction while it will stop back. It will take time to bring the coaches back because of the bullets and the damage done on the rolling stock. It will take some time to come out. But the other rolling stock that we are not attacked.
Meanwhile, the MD of NRC has denied the claims going on social media that 970 people were on board the train. He made it clear that the corporation is not involved in any form of ticket racketeering whatsoever.
Who counted? Bring out that person who said he counted 970 and bring them live on PlusTV. Let us talk. The entire train at maximum will take 840, including standing. And that day was a Monday. Trips to from Abuja to Kaduna on Monday are not heavy. If it was Friday, Saturday, you can say something like that. We have given authentic figure with printouts. Abuja Kaduna route, there is no way you can plug it to the platform without using your ticket. And there is no way you can exit the platform without using your ticket. The not only official but correct, 398 people bought tickets. Those tickets are sold online. And even when you come to the station to buy, it is still online. You can buy by using the web or using the app, or you buy at the station. So 398 people bought tickets, and 362 were validated. By that, they crossed the barrier. We have been making calls because to buy ticket, you must put your phone number. 123 people have responded positively that they are live and healthy, and 17 people said they bought ticket for their sibling, which they have not heard from. I've also received calls from family who said the bandits have used their sibling or relation to call them, to ask them to go and meet the government to provide money. We have received 3 of such information.
You know, our train has a simple calculation can give you the number of people on board. Our train is a train that carries about 8 to 10 coaches, and on the economy class, you can have like 95 to 97 passengers on the economy class. Then on the first class, you can have like 65 to 67 seats on the first class coaches. So which, of course, if you put them all together, we are talking of about 800 to 900 passengers on board. It is very, very possible they can be on board because at a time, our train can carry 800 to 900 passengers at a time. So, but it all depends on the patronage, and mostly night trains doesn't normally get filled up with passengers because not everybody travels at night. So I cannot ascertain or I cannot assure you that the number of passengers on that train that day was.
Now, as Nigerians continue to ponder over the Abuja-Kaduna train attack, President Muhammadu Buhari has been called upon not to leave any stone unturned in the efforts to rescue the helpless victims taken away by hostages by the terrorists. The national chairman of the Action Congress Party, Engineer Yabagi Sani, made his call while addressing a World Press Conference in Lagos today. PlusTvAfrica's correspondent, Love Ekukwedo, tells us more in this report. We'll bring you that track and that report in the course of our bulletin. Now, 5 Chadian, Senegalese, Franco-Ivorians, and Cameroonian employees of the NGO Doctors Without Borders, MSF, have been released in Nigeria. That's a month after being kidnapped by gunmen in northern Cameroon. They were kidnapped a month ago in Portugal, near the Nigerian border, a region where jihadist groups Boko Haram and Islamic State of West Africa, ISWAP, regularly attack civilians and soldiers. The NGO, without revealing the circumstances of the release, said the former hostages have been taken to a safe place. Let's now get to your state. The House of Assembly there has faulted the decision of the leadership of the State Security Network and Amotekun Corps over the recall of all their personnel in Iwajowa and Itesiwaju local government areas to Ibadan. Take a listen.
The lawmaker representing Iwajowa State constituency in the Oyo State House of Assembly, Honorable Adedibu Akim, while reporting the development, explained that the personnel were recalled to Ibadan on the excuse that they failed to report the latest bandit attack in their areas of responsibility. He maintained that all the Amotekun personnel deployed to 2 local government areas are currently in Ibadan serving punishment on the directive of the authorities of the Security Network Agency, which he said has made it impossible for the people of the zone to go about their day-to-day businesses for fear of the unknown. While ruling on the matter, the Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Debo Ogundoyin, said he will consult with the House Committee on Security Matters and also meet with the heads of the Amotekun security outfit in the state to ensure that the personnel return to their duty posts soonest.
I'm so surprised that since yesterday now, there's no single Amotekun personnel in those 2 local governments. So what are we saying? If something occurs within that short period, within that a week that he said he want them to be in Ibadan, I expect even if you want to do that, you have to make provision for other set of personnel that you send there to cover up for that 1 week. You never make a provision for anything like that. just decided to ask all of them to report in Ibadan, and they have to stay in Ibadan for a week.
Without the commander of the Amoteco Corps aware of that, it's a breach in their own security procedure. But also doesn't negate the fact that punishing them by bringing them back to Ibadan, where they are useless to everybody and their people, is also not advisable, especially at how volatile that region is.
Recall that a 70-year-old farmer and vigilante member in Itasa community in Iwajowa local government area of Oyo State, Amadou Abubakar, was attacked by suspected Fulani bandits at the weekend, leaving his hands amputated.
We now go back to our very first story tonight on job creation. President Muhammadu Buhari has loaded the Bank of Industry for creating over 9 million jobs in the last 7 years, as well as disbursing over 1.24 trillion naira to 4.2 million beneficiaries in micro, small, medium, and large enterprises. Speaking at the commissioning of the second tower of the BOI building in Abuja, the president said that the bank has continued to successfully execute its mandate as a policy institution of the federal government, extending single-digit interest rate loans to manufacturers. Commending the management of the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment and BOI for their contributions to the economic development of the country and the well-being of Nigerians, the president approved the issuance of a sovereign guarantee to help the bank raise funds in the Eurobond market.
I approved the issuance of a sovereign guarantee to help the bank raise funds in the Eurobond market. I'm glad to note that the bank has recently completed the transaction by raising up to 750 million euros from international investors. The proceeds of this Eurobond will be disbursed to large, medium, and small enterprises and women entrepreneurs with bankable projects. It is commendable that the bank sources its own funds for lending based on its investment grade ratings by the rating agencies.
Now, Nigeria and the neighboring Niger Republic have agreed to cement the ties that exist among them in the areas of security and economic development. The two leaders made their intention known when President Muhammadu Buhari received his Nigerian counterpart, President Mohamed Bazoum, at the presidential villa Abuja on a state visit. President Mohamed Bazoum inspected a guard of honor mounted by men of the Presidential Guards Brigade, after which the two leaders went into a closed session where they discussed bilateral issues and later had lunch. The visitor also reiterated his appreciation for Nigeria's decision to construct a railway linking Nigeria and Niger through Kano, Katsina, and Maradi.
JTF, the Multinational Joint Task Force, is a model initiated by countries that are facing the same kind of security challenges. And we want to replicate this kind of model in countries of the Sahel, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, and so on, replicate this kind of model. Why? Because this model has allowed us in the Lake Chad Basin region to address a common threat. And we are very much satisfied with the situation because it has allowed us to contain it, and we want to replicate same in other places. Evidently, if Nigeria accepts to do the same in the axis northwest to fight banditry, we will gladly accept, because as you know, Nigeria almost entirely funded the MNJTF operations. And if Nigeria decides to do the same in northwest axis, we'll be very happy, because that means it will reduce the burden, the economic and financial burden of the fight against this bandit.
Still on bilateral relations, the U.S. government has begun the construction of a new, modern U.S. Consulate General in Lagos. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu joined U.S. Ambassador Mary Beth Leonard and U.S. Consul General Claire Pierangelo today at the groundbreaking ceremony. The project is highlighting the enduring bilateral partnership between the United States and Nigeria. At the event, the diplomats reassured Nigeria that the United States is committed to strengthen the enduring U.S.-Nigeria relationship. They're investing in the partnership for the benefit of the two nations. The new facility will provide American and Nigerian consulate employees with a safe, secure, sustainable, and modern workplace. The project is estimated at $537 million. Now, the federal government has directed the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, to wield its big stick on television and radio stations airing inciting broadcasts. This is as politicking for the 2023 general elections gets intense. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, gave the directive at the inauguration of the governing board of the commission in Abuja. He also tasked the board to fast-track the implementation of the government's digital switchover. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University branch, has threatened to initiate the process of withdrawing the degree certificate of the Director General, National Information Technology Development Agency, Kashifu Inowa, as an alumnus of the university. The union said the withdrawal was being considered after Inowa's submission that the University Transparency and Accountability Solution UTAS had failed an integrity test, vulnerability test, security integrity, user acceptance test, and stress load test, as well as the hardware requirements. The union, in a press release titled UTAS and NITGA's lies, described the submission, which it claimed was made on March the 9th, as an unguarded statement, and also advised the NITGA boss to retrace his steps to the path of truth and academic excellence. Still on academics, the national leadership of the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, has issued a 30-day ultimatum to the federal government to release the 15 billion naira approved last year as the first portion of funds meant to address the decayed infrastructure in the sector, as well as minimum wage arrears. Addressing the press conference in Yola shortly after the 102nd NEC meeting of the union, the national president of the association, Anderson Ezebe, faulted the Nigerian government for partial implementation of resolutions upon which the union suspended its April 2010 strike. Ezebe said that the union would embark on industrial action to press home their demands, and also expressed worries over the manipulation of the 2019 Polytechnic Act by some governing councils of polytechnics, where the process of the appointment of rectors and other management staff is violated.
The 102nd meeting of the Union's National Executive Council has resolved to give the government a further 1 month as an ultimatum to address the outstanding issues as listed or face a review of the suspended industrial action by our union. We are deploying this medium to equally appeal to members of the public to prevail on the government to do the needful and avoid a shutdown of the sector. In choosing to extend the long expired 3-month suspension period of our industrial action, we are convinced that the extra window of 1 month typifies our level of restraint and consideration for our students and other members of the public, even as we hope that this government will take advantage of this opportunity to avoid a shutdown of the sector. Our union's National Executive Council shall be reconvening after this 1 month period, which takes effect from the 4th of April 2022 for further decisions on this subject.
The House Ad Hoc Committee of the Recovery of 1.2 trillion unclaimed funds in commercial banks, the CBN, as well as the MDAs, has alarmed Nigerians over the discovery of over 300 billion naira since the start of its investigation so far. Chairman of the committee, Honorable Oyeme Idem, discussed this after a session with officials of the Nigeria Investment Promotion Council. Emmanuel Hejene completes this report.
The House set up the ad hoc committee following a resolution taken by the House ad hoc committee on January 26 this year on the need to investigate unclaimed funds amounting to 1.2 trillion naira in commercial banks, the CBN, as well as the MDAs. According to the chairman of the committee, Honorable Oyeme Idem, funds trapped are in dormant bank accounts in domestic and foreign currencies, accounts without BVN, failed contracts, excess unremitted funds, and many more. He presented a list of accounts to the management team of Citibank holding 99 billion naira out of the 1.2 trillion naira under investigation.
You are indebted to the federal government of Nigeria in terms of dollars. So if you aggregate these amounts, naira and dollars, is amounted to about 99 billion naira.
Members of the committee asked the officials to explain the status of accounts belonging to ABS Limited, Global Offshore Limited, and Titan Energy Limited, which are holding funds in both naira and dollars.
Can you identify by your records and account number 00115-314, domiciliary account, US dollar, ABS Limited, with 212,369,026 naira and $26.49.
In a submission, the Executive Director, Operations and Technology of the bank, Ngozi Omoke Eyi, said 7 accounts without BVN have been submitted to the committee in compliance to what it requested from the bank.
And I saw that the schedule said corporate names, individual, and MDA. And I just separated it into 3. It's consistently 7. The balances are the same. Nothing has changed. Please, I just want you to get that right. I'm not here to falsify anything.
The commission, however, informed Citibank that it observed the documents submitted had more than 7 accounts that needed to be scrutinized. It directed the bank officials to reconcile their accounts and make further clarifications at the next appearance. The Director of Finance, Nigeria Investment Promotion Council, James Akwa, pleaded for more time to reconcile its accounts when accused of allegedly owing the federal government to the tune of 5.2 billion naira in unremitted revenue, operating surplus, and other funds from 2015 to 2021.
Now, the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petitions has summoned the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and the sole administrator of Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, Effiong Akwa, over the non-payment of 2.2 billion naira to contractors. The committee said it was acting on petitions filed by Ancom Services Limited over alleged refusal to pay for the survey carried out in 9 states under the commission. Chairman of the committee, Senator Ayo Akinyelure, stated that Akpabio and Akwa must appear before the panel unfailingly on April 12, as the committee had written several letters of invitation to the minister and the NDDC boss on petitions against them, but they neither responded to the invitations nor honored them.
Former minority leader of the Senate in the 8th Assembly, your colleagues are calling on you to come over, to come and tell us why these innocent Nigerians have not been paid. If you have a problem of appropriation, we are here for you to give you appropriation. We want you to direct the sole administrator, Mr. Akwa, to be here on 12th of April, 2022, to come and tell us why these Nigerians have not been paid. If you fail to come, you know the rule of the Senate, standing rule of the Senate when you are a minority leader, that when an agency chief executive fails to honor the plea of the Senate, it's not good for senator to issue warrant and for say arrest or to compel another senator. But don't push us to the wall. You are respected, you are our colleague here. We want you to respect the instruction of the Senate.
Now, the Association of Licensed Telecoms Operators of Nigeria, ALTON, says it may be forced to commence action with its regulators if the government fails to intervene in the shutting down of facilities in Kogi State. Chairman of ALTON, Engineer Benga Debayo, dropped this hint while briefing newsmen in Lagos. Justin Akadonye has more.
The shutting down of the facilities in Kogi State is coming as a result of disputes arising from unusual taxes and levies demanded by the State Internal Revenue Service. The consequence of this is that 70 sites have been disconnected. While operators fear they will not be able to provide support for the citizenry, they say it may also have a huge toll on the overall economy.
So it's not a threat to shutting down network site, and please do not misquote me, but we will be left with no option than to seek government intervention at higher levels to do whatever it is possible to compel government of Kogi State and that of FCDA to do something. And I think this is a matter of important and significant concern to government. It's unfortunate that the government at the subnational level will flip the switch on the entire nation, and we all will fold our arms and say it is their problem and it is not our problem. Because the implication is that if your neighbor is doing something wrong, you don't call him to order. The day there are consequences on his action, you also will feel it.
Present challenges, including the skyrocketed cost of diesel, take center stage. Although ALTON is not hammering on raising the rates, they feel an intervention from government is not too much to ask. Other bottlenecks with the FCT administration and security worry the operators.
All planning, all network planning, operational expenses that we have planned, projected for the year, is based on the projection that diesel will cost at 200 and something naira per liter. Today it has gone to several multiples, and you know the implication of that. One is that because of the built infrastructure in Abuja, no individual operator can dig in Abuja to lay fiber. So FCT had their own underground fiber, their own underground ducts, which our member leases to deploy services. Because of the revenue attraction of that infrastructure, when new government in Abuja come, they change the numbers. It's essentially if you actually have terrorist attack, insurance will call it force majeure. Riot and civil act. Insurance for those kind of things are very expensive.
ALTON reiterated its commitment to work with government and security agencies at all levels while assuring that services will not be disrupted. Justin Akadonye, PlusTV News.
The federal government has hinted that all structures are being put in place to commence the auction of Nigerian bitumen. This is following the completion of automation of the mining system to meet international full standard for online mining. Minister of Mines and Steel Development, architect Olamilekun Adebite, hinted this in Abuja. He was featuring at the weekly media briefing coordinated by the Presidential Communication Team. The minister also spoke about the 2023 target of resuscitation of Ajaokuta Steel Company. He made it clear that the delivery date is no longer feasible owing to the negative impact of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The plan was to deliver Ajaokuta this year, 2022. And I've said it before. When we came back from Russia, yes, I went to the public and said, look, we'll deliver Ajaokuta before the end of this tenure. And I pray that I'll have a chance to go back and apologize and explain what happened to the people before I leave office. Yes, it's through no fault of us. Everybody was gung-ho. We were ready to go. Unfortunately, COVID became a force majeure. Project delivery timelines, I gave you so many. I said all these 6 regional projects will be commissioned by July. I gave you timelines. We are going to do our bitumen auction by June this year, by the grace of God. What I told you that before the end of the year is the cooperation between NMDC and Dicon. They produce alloy for Dicon, which they can use, and it's found it to be cheaper. But actually the funding for that operation, it's coming in trickles. That's why I can't give you a particular timeline.
Now, as part of efforts aimed at giving back to the society, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Anambra State has commissioned a block of classrooms built by the church to improve the learning condition of pupils in the Obosi community area of the state. Speaking during the handover, the school's head teacher, Christian Okafo, expressed their joy over the gesture and called on others to emulate such. The representative of the church, Lokman Ezeagu, said the school was built out of a passion to see the pupils excel.
The completed classroom block by a charity organization named Latter-day Saints Charity to the local government education authority in Anambra State. This classroom block was uncompleted, no doors, no windows, nothing. But as somebody who wants the progress of the school, I started struggling and connecting through Mr. Christopher Ife. But through prayers and supplications, today, this charity organization named Latter-day Saints Charity.
A thing of glory and praise, service to humanity, which that organization stands for. We are grateful to God, we are grateful to them, and wish them more grace to their elbows.
It's a very big occasion for me, very appreciative occasion. I'm a very happy man today because the project behind me has been completed by Latter-day Saints Charities. It was in an awful state when we came and did some inspection, the pictures we show, and you can look at it. They even painted it in and out and furnished it for 2 classrooms and a hall. So it's something I'm sure you saw the community, the whole school, the pupils, the teachers, everybody's in a happy mood.
Fear grips Nigerians as insecurity heightens across the country. That's on Street Views. Take a listen.
We're concerned. We've seen constant attacks here and there from Abuja, Kaduna, and even Bauchi, Maiduguri, and it's extending even beyond the northern part of Nigeria. So yes, we are concerned. We're worried. We also feel that perhaps some of these issues should have been sorted, but I mean, the reverse is the case as what we have today.
I'm very, very disappointed. I was hoping that by this present time that our state of security will be improved, but it's getting worse. So really, I am disappointed.
If you look at the whole thing, you will understand that the insecurity in this nation is giving us a kind of a bad name in this nation. For a long time now, for more than 4 years, every day when I wake up in the morning, when I look, especially if I'm going to work, I look at the things that happens. On the go slow, you could see that a lot of people are being even robbed. And people are dying every day. I do not know what government is thinking about it, but to me, the insecurity is too heightened that no one is safe wherever you are.
I'm tired because we just hear about bad news every day, and you're not even safe from. You can't even enter Uber, BRT, anything. Like if you're even going out, you have to tell people where you're going to because the insecurity is just crazy right now.
The security situation in Nigeria is not pleasing at all. We need to improve on the security system in Nigeria. It is disheartening to see what is happening presently in the country. So we need an improvement.
So barbaric is nothing to write home about. We are insecurity in this country is something else. Because we need a good leader, somebody that can flush all those bandits or terrorists, just to flush them out, because the rate the people are dying is too much.
Still ahead, migrants murdered, tortured, and raped in Libya. Details will return. Please stay with us.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
Thanks for staying with us. Now we move to other parts of Africa. At least 8 Mali insurgents were killed in an ambush in the Bandiagara region. The country's military announced the incident on Wednesday. Mali has been battling an insurgency linked to the Al-Qaeda and Daesh ISIS terror groups since 2012, when unrest erupted in the north of the country. The violence has killed thousands of civilians and troops. It has also spread to neighboring Niger and Burkina Faso. Gunmen suspected to be from Ethiopia's Amara region have killed 26 people and injured 15 in an ambush. It was on a vehicle carrying militia in neighboring Oromia. Ethiopia has struggled to contain violence in its ethnically based regions in recent years. The Oromo are Ethiopia's largest group and the Amara its second, with frequent attacks on both sides of their border, mainly overland. Discussions are ongoing about allowing President Roch Kabore of Burkina Faso, who was ousted in a coup on January 24, to return to a residence of his choice. The country's military junta revealed this today. Kabore is currently under house arrest in a residence in the capital, Ouagadougou. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa and his cabinet are facing a vote of no confidence on Wednesday in the National Assembly. They've had several allegations raised against them by the opposition. The official opposition party, the Democratic Alliance, DA, raised the motion in February, saying the ruling party, in power since 1994, has failed to bridge the economic divide in the country since the end of apartheid. Now, at least 20 members of Tunisia's parliament who took part in an online session in defiance of President Kais Saied have been summoned by an anti-terrorism unit for investigation. Wednesday's parliament session was the first since Saied announced last year he was suspending the chamber as he moved to one-man rule. His critics have called the measures a coup. Saied responded to the session overnight by dissolving the chamber and ordering investigations into the more than half of the parliament members who took part. This development is a major escalation in Tunisia's political confrontation between the president and his opponents. United Nations commissioned investigators yesterday painted a grim picture for migrants in Libya. That was just days after they said they were seeking to verify the presence of mass graves at a human trafficking center in the country's northwest. Chief Investigator Mohamed Aujar said the group documented consistent patterns of serious human rights violations against migrants in government-run detention centers and trafficking hubs. The investigators revealed in an October report that they had evidence of possible crimes against humanity and war crimes in Libya. Let's now get outside Africa. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told members of the Belgian parliament today that the ongoing Russian siege of the strategic port city of Mariupol is no less terrible than that of Ypres. He was making reference to a World War I battle during which more than 500,000 soldiers were killed or wounded. Russian President Vladimir Putin revealed on Thursday that he had signed a decree saying foreign buyers must pay in rubles for Russian gas from April 1. Contract would be halted if these payments were not made. His decision to enforce ruble payments has boosted the Russian currency, which fell to historic lows after Russia sent tens of thousands of troops into Ukraine on February 24, but has since recovered. Still on Russia-Ukraine war, keeping up pressure on Russian President Vladimir Putin and closing all sanctions with the loopholes must remain a priority. This is the position of German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Scholz told reporters during a joint news conference with his Austrian counterpart that the European Union needed to speed up its institutional to expand the bloc. Britain and its allies have agreed to send more lethal weapons to Ukraine that will help defend it against Russia's invasion. British Defense Minister Ben Wallace made this revelation today. A number of countries have come forward either with new ideas or indeed more pledges of money. Wallace told reporters after hosting over 30 international partners at a conference. He said the lethal aid included longer-range artillery, ammunition, and more anti-aircraft weapons.
So Ukraine need longer-range artillery, and that's because of what the Russian army has been doing, which is now digging in and starting to pound these cities with artillery. The best counter to that is other long-range artillery, so they'll be looking for and getting more long-range artillery ammunition. Predominantly, they're obviously looking for equipment to defend its coastline because of Russian activity down there, and we'll be looking to see what more we can do. They're also looking for armoured vehicles of some types, not tanks necessarily, but certainly protective vehicles so they can carry on, and more anti-air. And all of that will be forthcoming as a result of this conference. President Putin is not the force he used to be. He is now a man in a cage that he built himself. He's isolated. He has international sanctions from all over the world against him. Russia is a lesser country rather than a greater country as a result of him knowingly and deliberately breaking international law by invading. His army is exhausted. He has suffered significant losses. The reputation of this great army of Russia has been trashed. And he has now got to live with the consequences not only of what he's doing to Ukraine, but he's also got to live with the consequences of what he's done to his own army.
Meanwhile, Russian forces in Ukraine are not withdrawing, but regrouping, so says NATO Secretary Jens Stoltenberg. He was commenting on Moscow's announcement about a scaling down of military operations around Kyiv.
According to our intelligence, Russian units are not withdrawing, but repositioning. Russia is trying to regroup, resupply, and reinforce its offensive in the Donbas region. At the same time, Russia maintains pressure on Kyiv and other cities. So we can expect additional offensive actions bringing even more suffering. We need to judge Russia on their actions, not on their words, and it remains to be seen whether there is any real willingness from the Russian side to find a political solution.
Away from a Russia-Ukraine war, a Turkish prosecutor has asked a court in Istanbul to hold the trial in absentia of 26 Saudi nationals over the murder of Jamal Khashoggi in 2018. The prosecutor said the case shall be transferred to Saudi Arabia, which has refused to extradite the defendants. Up next, tribunal stops multi-choice for from increasing DSTV, Go TV subscription rates. That's in business news. After this short break, please stay with us.
And it's time for business news. Nigeria is currently experiencing a minimum of 15 million housing gaps. According to the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyor and Valuers, the country needs to build at least 1 million houses every year to close the gap at least in the next 15 years. The Akwa Ibom State Chairman of the body, John Isangendigi, said these while briefing newsmen in Uyo. Isangendigi said conscious efforts have been made to make the real estate investment appealing to investors. He explained that anything short of these will discourage investors in the sector to the detriment of both estate developers and tenants. A Competition and Consumer Protection Tribunal sitting in Abuja has restrained MultiChoice Nigeria Limited from increasing its tariffs and cost of products and services scheduled to begin on April 1st. The three-member tribunal, presided over by Thomas Okosun, gave the order following an ex parte motion moved by Festus Onifade, a legal practitioner on behalf of himself and the Coalition of Nigerian Consumers. The applicants had prayed for an order of interim injunction restraining the first defendants either by itself, agents, representatives, officers, or privets from carrying out the impending increase in tariffs and cost of its products and services until the hearing and determination of the motion on notice already filed before this tribunal. The matter was adjourned until April 11 for the hearing and determination of the motion on notice. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, says it is impossible to make up for the loss of over 7 million barrels per day owing to the sanction on Russia for invading Ukraine. Its Secretary General, Mohammed Bakindo, spoke at the 61st meeting of Joint Technical Committee video conference. He said irrespective of efforts to cover the lost output, which is about 7% of global demand, it is already harmful to the global energy demand. According to him, the last major supply disruption of this size, 5.6 million barrels per day, occurred in 1978 and 1979 during the Iranian Revolution. And that's business news. Thanks for watching. I am Destin Momo. The news continues.
Entertainment news is up next. Stay with us.
Nigerian music icon Two-Face Idibia has reacted to the allegations leveled against his wife Annie by her elder brother Wisdom Macaulay. The singer took to his Instagram stories where he penned a short note about the frosty relationship between his wife and her brother. Respect to family, but sometimes some family is your worst enemy, he wrote. The music star's post came hours after Wisdom had dragged his sister on Instagram. Bruce Willis is quitting his nearly 3 decades acting career following an aphasia diagnosis. The Die-Hard star's family made this shocking announcement. The family wrote on Instagram, "To Bruce's amazing supporters, as a family, we wanted to share that our beloved Bruce has been experiencing some health issues and has recently been diagnosed with aphasia, which is impacting his cognitive abilities. As a result of this, with much consideration, Bruce is stepping away from the career that has meant so much to him. This is a really challenging time for our family, and we are so appreciative of your continued love, compassion, and support." The statement was signed by the actor's wife, Emma Herman Willis, and his ex-wife, Demi Moore, and their 5 daughters. Disciplinary proceedings against actor Will Smith has begun after he slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars event. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences revealed that Smith refused to leave the award ceremony following the altercation despite being asked. The Board of Governors initiated disciplinary proceedings against Will Smith for violations of the Academy's standards of conduct, including inappropriate physical contact, abusive or threatening behavior, and compromising the integrity of the Academy. The organization said Smith will be notified at least 15 days in advance of a vote for his violations and penalties. The actor will have the opportunity to provide a written response. The next board meeting for the Academy is on April the 18th, 2022. The Academy said Smith had been asked to leave the award ceremony following the altercation, but refused.
The very best in sports is next.
Hello and welcome to Sports News on Plus TV Africa. In the wake of the Super Eagles' failure to qualify for the 2022 World Cup, Augustin Eguavon has stepped down as the first team coach. The 56-year-old former technical advisor for the NFF, whom led the team to the last 16 of the Africa Cup of Nations back in February, took over as interim coach in December 2021 after long-serving coach Gennett Rohr was fired. The failed attempt to deliver on the task of reaching the World Cup finals in Qatar has led to the NFF terminating the team's entire technical crew with immediate effect and withdrawing the 2.5-year contract offered to the coaches. The NFF announced in a statement of the head coach stepping down, but it is yet to be seen if Eguavon will return to his former job. Now, Gianni Infantino has stepped sharply back from hotly contested plans for a biennial World Cup, telling world football's leadership that FIFA had never proposed such an idea. The FIFA president has been under fire for the past year, particularly in Europe, for proposals to increase the frequency of the global extravaganza from every 4 years to every 2. However, at FIFA's Congress in Qatar on Thursday, March 31st, Infantino told assembled heads of world football that the sports governing body had not been proposing the move, which was threatening to split the football world.
Let me be very clear that FIFA has not proposed a biennial World Cup. Let's get the process clear here. The last FIFA Congress asked the FIFA administration with a vote in which 88% voted in favor to study the feasibility of a World Cup every 2 years and some other projects related to women's football and youth football. Now FIFA, the FIFA administration, under the leadership of Arsène Wenger, did exactly that. We studied the feasibility. But FIFA did not propose anything. FIFA came to the conclusion that it is feasible, that it would have some repercussions and impacts. But once this certified, the next phase starts, and it's the phase of consultation. It's the phase of discussion. It's the phase of trying to find agreements and compromises.
In the NBA, the Phoenix Suns edged a nervy clash between two of the Western Conference's top teams as they escaped from San Francisco with a narrow win in the NBA. On an 8-game winning streak and having not lost on the road to a team from the West since December 13th, the Suns were pushed all the way by determined Golden State Warriors. Devin Booker and Mikal Bridges were their joint top scorers with 22 points, but tying his career high with 38. Jordan Poole looked to be guiding the Warriors to a huge win, but 12-time All-Star Chris Paul showed all of his experience and composure down the stretch. 2 clutch late baskets, giving Phoenix a lead they would not relinquish. They now improved to 62-14, easily the best record in the association. Those 62 victories tying their franchise win record. Only in 1992 and 1993 and the 2004 and 2005 did they manage as many.
That need to get acclimated to that lineup and those big threes. Poole knocks down another, but he is definitely looking at him in a manner that is different. Great hustle by Crowder, but saved it to Poole, who's wide open, and hits a throw. Transition opportunity for Phoenix, trying to tie the game. Booker gets it to his Wildcats are 19. Jordan Poole has had the hot hand. He gives it up, down. Green drives and gets the layup. He hits the deck as well, and is still injury. Chris Paul, one of the best punch-time players in the league. Going to work, drives into the paint, off 1 foot, hit it. Right on cue, Chris Paul gives the Suns a 2. This direction there with Klay Thompson. There's Green, got caught in the air and turned it over. He's fouling violation. I can tell you right now that play that was about to happen. 40 feet away from the goal. Timers at 8 on the switch. Porter's got Paul. Paul into the lane with a floater. It's good. Chris Paul comes.
And that's all the sports news we have for you for now. Join us next time. My name is Mikhail Tinubu. Have a good night.
And the main news again. Gunmen kill 1, burn council secretariat in Anambra State. Also in Abuja, gunmen storm palace, kidnap monarch, 3 others. Burkina Junta says ousted president could return to residence. And President Zelensky reiterates call for no-fly zone over Ukraine. That's the news now. For more stories, please follow us at PlusTvAfrica on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. I'm Tolu Ojomi. Thanks for watching, and do have a good night.
Yes, yo, it's time for some entertainment excitement. Hope you're ready to join the ride with myself and Lady Kofo, of course, as we tell you what's trending and what's not with deep and peculiar analysis. You know, dope conversations and generally just good vibes. And thank God it's Thursday, guys. We get a chance to